He was 600 plus pounds. Holy, how do you get around? I mean, Andre the Giant's no exception either, so. And there we go. Isn't Andre the Giant 7 foot? No, how much does he, whatever. I don't know these things, top of my head. It says excellent. I guess I don't need to see video there, so that would just be an infinite tunnel thing. All right. Yeah, I'm cracked as well. Allergies have been nuts over the past couple days, so I'm just like not sleeping, not feeling it. I have to take enough allergy meds for an out-of-body experience and then go to bed and actually get some sleep. But we're gonna have a tired stream today. It's a good thing we're not doing anything stressful like powering up high-power motor controllers for the first time. Ha 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 ha. I'm pretty sure I got the pinout right though, because there's a couple little keying factors on the design of the old motor controller. Like for instance, that there's a corner of pins here for the programming thing. It's like you got this long stretch like that, and then down here it's a much smaller one for the power, and then everything over here. Why are we zooming in? Zoom is in the opposite direction. Over here we have symmetrical power pins, but in addition to that, I don't know where I should be putting in 5 volts. I assume that if I power this 5 volts here, it'll power everybody else from Momo's power supply. I'm not sure. Take a shot of local honey. I had some Westchester honey. Actually, a friend of mine dropped off a jar of honey with Momo. I got Momo and a jar of honey all in one, so maybe I should take some of that. Maybe that'll help me out. It doesn't immediately cure your allergies, but over time, it can alleviate, it can help get your body used to the allergens in the area. It used to be that I didn't have allergies. I used to have horrible, horrible allergies, like horrible hay fever and all that stuff. It's terrible, right? Absolutely the worst, right? I was just all summer, plugged nose, no ability to breathe, just bad. And then I moved to Northern Virginia and lived there for like 8 to 10 years, I forget. I think it was 10, whatever, a decade. I lived there for a decade, and my body didn't catch up with the local allergens, so I didn't have any allergies. And I was like, whoa, no more allergies. This is awesome. Then I moved back to Philadelphia, and my allergies didn't follow either. I think my body, I was shocking my body suddenly into not having allergies by moving. But now I've been here another decade, and so I think everybody's caught up with me. I think my allergies have caught up with me in new and unique ways. My immune system being, zealous enough to kill my pancreas. I think it has no qualms killing my general well state of being. Bom, 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 bom. We got music over here on Twitch. YouTubers, we need to get our chat up and running, hopefully before they notice. There will be a total of maybe 5 comments on YouTube, but we still do this. Auto find and activate. There it is, and nobody has chatted yet. Good. Well, nobody's on YouTube. I don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to do. My format of stream is not that popular. And that's just the fundamental of the whole thing. It's like I can do all kinds of stuff to try to make it popular, but then it won't be itself anymore. But I have fun. I have fun. I got parts all over the bench today. We're going to try to get Momo up and running today. I want to get this project out of here and get it back to my buddy so he can not mow his lawn or mow his lawn. I think it's a superposition between the two because he's not mowing it, but it does get mowed. What does that mean? I don't know about cooling with these things. They got huge heat sinks on them. And I could potentially, I would love it if I could mount these somewhere on here, but there's no good opportunity. There's no good place. I could get a piece of poster board and place it across this thing and put that down. Maybe just leave it to my friend to try to figure out how he's going to mount these things in here. Or if at all, maybe they're just fine rattling around. That seems like a liability, but I don't have much choice here. Boom, 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 boom. They got shunts on them. They got Hall effect sensors that are plugged in. There's a lot. It's a big motor controller. These things are nuts. Maybe just put a zip tie around them and store them like this. But I don't think they'll get warm. We'll have to see. This can go away. We can make a little room here because we got to bring the whole robot over and do some powering. And if this thing blows up immediately, which I'm being careful enough that I really don't think it will. But if it blows up, that'll be it for the day. We got to finish the PCB for that powered the multi-plug thing for the Eurorack. That's like just a little bit of PCB design that I want to do with you guys, and also get my credit for using Fusion 360 to design PCBs, because it's not easy. But once you get a good workflow going and you got all your parts that you like, it's not hard to design things, to design PCBs. Hey, what's that? Mahalo! Hot glue. I don't enjoy putting hot glue on something that could potentially turn itself into a molten brick of former metal, former PCB. Mahalo, thank you so much for subbing and the continued subs. I love you. I do. No, I don't, but I like you a lot. Thank you so much for subbing. 83 months is a significant amount of expenditure, of fanfare. Thank you. Anyway, thank you. No, it's like sincere. When you make jokes like that, previously recorded live, they used to say, "We really mean it," in that tone after every single sub that they announced. It was like, do you? I don't know what to think anymore. I shouldn't joke in that space, because I do actually mean it. Thank you very much. I really appreciate all the support for this channel. Keeping weird stuff going on Twitch, right? I love it when Twitch doesn't just do gaming content. I love all the alternative stuff. There's a channel that a bunch of friends used to watch all the time, a bunch of Twitch friends used to watch all the time, that it's called Let's Paint TV. Doesn't stream much anymore. There was like one recent stream that like maybe 2 people watched, but what they did was they don't do this anymore. They're doing like music now, which is basically just bashing on a bunch of like keyboards with presets. But what they used to do was paint. Obviously, Let's Paint TV paints. But what they would do is paint while running on a treadmill. So the painting was crazy, and the treadmill running was crazy, and the studio space had paint all over it. It was great. It was just a wonderful madcap artistic performance. Loved it. So I got a couple more of those binders, the binders full of parts that I use. I got ones for the 0805 resistors and another one for 0603, because some of the categories of 0603 resistors were running out. And while I could sit here and put together a bunch of orders of individual resistors, they are so hard to get right on DigiKey. You have to go through so many parameters, and then when you get the resistor in the mail, sometimes they don't have the value properly written on it on the top of the resistor. In my opinion, all of the resistors should have an easy to read printed numerical designation on the top of the little square chip. But they've decided to add in some stuff to the part numbers, and so some resistors will have a like a code on it, like an alphanumeric code that represents what the value of the resistor is. You got to look it up. You got to look it up, or you have to memorize this weird arbitrary system, whereas most of them will just have a number on it. They'll just have a number on it, and so you'll know that that's what the value of the resistor is. In the end, all things push come to shove in our disposable electronics sort of environment here these days, it doesn't matter what value the resistor has. It's installed and it works, right? It doesn't matter. You're not going to go back in and change that one. But maybe with the music electronics, maybe you want to actually change something. Maybe something's tuned a little bit weird, and you want to kind of pull it back into reality. And so you look at that resistor and you know what value it is. You change it, or you measure it. That's usually the go-to, is just to measure it. So it doesn't. It's not a showstopper when the value isn't written on it. But instead of going through all that drama with multiple orders of resistors, I just bought another one of the binders. So I have 2 binders of 0603s, and I'll have to retire one. The problem with the binders though, and again, this is, a bother's been busy. If you'll notice, these are on a reel. And so the paper has a curve to it. You know, a little bit of a healthy curve to it. It just kind of has a horizon, right? Resistors are not flat. It's a dome. Anyway, yeah, so there's a little curvature to it. And when you put like 30 of these things all facing this way into like a sleeve of a binder, the page ends up being this shape. It ends up being curved. And so the binder is like exploding with all of these curved resistor packs. And so what I did is I took because there's 2 per sleeve, right? Per sleeve of the binder, there's 2 things of resistors. 2 things of resistors. So what I did is I pulled out the bottom one, flipped it, and put it back in so that you have 2 leaf springs fighting each other, which is not a proper answer on a Rorschach test. You can ask my shrink. But 2 of these in a sleeve, and they'll fight each other and make it flat. And then I bent it on the corner of a table a little bit to just kind of reduce the sort of incredible twist on it. So right now on the table behind me in the back corner of the table, there's a 16-pound weight on a block of wood that's on top of 2 of the binders trying to squish them down and make them flat so that I can get the final flatulence out of that thing and make it fully flat. What up, Big John? How you doing? I've been a busy bee. I was talking about this earlier, but I found my lightsaber and then I killed Obi-Wan Kenobi, but he cut me in half. Or was that Darth Maul and not me? I don't remember. It's all a big blur. Yeah, my lightsaber. I love this thing. This is my Weller gas-powered soldering iron. I'll talk about this later. But I finally found this thing, and I found the big stinky tip for it. Where is the big stinky tip? Hold on, I'll show it over here. There's a big old stinky old tip. Look at this bad boy. I think this is for like cutting stuff. Cutting stuff that doesn't like heat. Like cutting rubber or something. I don't know. This thing is just a giant wedge. And so this thing, right straight down on some of those terminals on this thing so that I could get the old wires off because they were way too big. For this thing, it's going to be pushing like 2 to 3 amps on a 50 amp motor controller, but it's only going to be pushing 2 to 3 amps. So I ended up using the big old iron and getting all of these new wires on here. They don't look like much of a difference, but they are. So they're and of course these are wider. These are wider than the original motor controller. And so I could have tried to install them like on a PCB standing up, but I just decided to do kind of a loosey-goosey thing. I don't know what the end result of this is going to be. Maybe a big zip tie around all of them. But we got to get these programs. So we're going to do it one at a time per motor. But yeah, this is all going to kind of float. Yeah, foam and zippies. I don't know how warm this is going to get. I don't think it'll get too warm, but yeah, yeah. If you just foams and zip ties just to keep them snug as a bug in a rug. I think what we're going to do is I'll unplug the serial communication from it, and then we'll plug the board back in. And so we'll use, oh yeah, send me the motor profiles. Yeah. Do I need those motor profiles, or is the software going to make them? I don't know which one it is. But we'll plug one at a time back in and make sure, because what was happening with the old board is that everything was shorting out. So I need them. Okay. Yeah, that'll be good. I'll need that. Thank you. Thank you for stopping in and doing that, because otherwise I don't know what I would do today. I wonder if I could have found them online. So yeah, these are soldered into sockets over here. Big solder blob, big wire blob. These are also, I didn't do like DuPont connectors. Instead, I used the 0.1 inch connector and shrink wrap. And this is pretty flimsy wire. So, I mean, it'll be fine for the life of the thing. And I think with the shrink wrap there, they should be pretty good. Hopefully nothing like flexes these too much and pulls them out in any way. I was going to crimp DuPonts on there, but then that would have been like a really tall connector. So I think this will be okay. Womp, womp, womp. this out a little bit. Open mower.d. There we go, configuring XESC. Is this running up the hill? Is that what that is? Dun, 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 dun. I always find it fascinating. I know so many of these songs that are like put in generic spots for like commercials and whatever else, and people like know the exact title of them and everything. My favorite one is I think like Chrysler Dodge is using Run the Jewels, which is like the very first line is, picture this, I'm a bag of dick. What is it again? Picture this, I'm a bag of dicks, put me to your lips. It's just like the two rappers saying the filthiest stuff that they can come up with at each other. And the DJ Shadow thing is dun 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 dun. And so all of the commercial artists, people choosing to buy music, were like, that's the one. Let's use that for our car commercial. What are the oh, the song isn't called Run the Jewels, are the rappers. Nobody Speak. Good video. Is it all video results? Are you kidding me? Yeah, because I haven't started the stream yet. The stream is me working on the project, not me hanging out with you dunces. I am sick. I will punch a baby bear in his shit. Give me lip. I'm gonna send you to the yard, get a stick, make a switch. Like, where's the shouting, I am guilty, I am death. Top villain comes, cop some villainous shots. It's boxed, shipped out and bought. You feeling it? LP killing it. Killer Mike killing shit. It's a good song. I like the song a lot, but it is not something that I would put in my car commercial. Why are they called cowboys and not horsemen? One shudders to think. I don't fucking know, man. I ain't from the 1900s, 1890s. Yeah, the shooting the shit part of stream. People don't get it though. They think that like there's a difference between the splash screen and the streamer actually streaming. And there's not. It's just one piece of software that we run in order to, well, there's a couple pieces of software that can be used, but in the typical setup, they're using one of them. And it's just a scene in that piece of software. I don't shy away from how the sausage is made around here. This is what I'm looking at when I'm streaming. And what I'm looking at is a program called OBS. It's this one here that I'm moving around. That's OBS. OBS can take multiple sources. That's all this stuff over here. And the sources can be video scenes like this one. They can be stuff that isn't, it can be text. It could be nothing. It could be a picture that irritates you because somebody hasn't shown up on your stream in a month and apparently has the answer to the question, how do I light the backlight up of this little thing? That's your scene can be that. It can be that picture of a thing that pisses you off. Anyway, so the elements inside of a scene can be all this stuff. Your scenes are over here and you can switch between them. You can go like studio mode and have it switch and all that. But when the streamer has a splash screen up, people think it's something else. People think it's something that Twitch is doing, but it's not. It's something you're broadcasting out. So if I have a static image up here with like a counter on it, I'm still here. I'm still just standing here, just like, what am I doing here? What is this? What have I gone? Wow, I'm mulleting. I am mulleting. Whoa, I need to do a haircut. Look at that. I can do a ponytail. Oh God, it's the horrible neckbeard ponytail. Oh God. Yeah, I need to get a haircut. Party in the back. This is not a party. This is a cry for help. Anyway, yeah. So I would just be sitting here, you know, with my hand down my pants, just looking at the screen with a counter on it. So instead, am I losing weight? Does it look like I'm losing weight? I haven't weighed myself out of fear. I'm supposed to be losing weight, and I've been trying, and I've not been good. Not been good. I've been eating too much, in my opinion, but I think in the next day or two, I'm gonna step on that scale and I'll get an assessment. I think I've been maintaining 260s, like 265, but there's been a couple meals, a couple lunches that I regret. I have not been snacking at night though. I've been doing a lot better about that. And this is all like, listen, it's the bare minimum that I could do. I could actually try to lose weight, but I'm getting used to Ozempic and having that influence what I'm doing, and the Android Auto Pancreas system is adjusting perfectly. But if it doesn't, I can be in a situation where my insulin suddenly does a lot more than I think it will and get in trouble with that. So changing stuff like that is very difficult. The angle makes you look thin. There's a lot of material here. I think maybe this being blown out with the light. Yeah, there we go. Maybe you've gotten too used to the physique of Haystack Calhoun. Actually, I haven't looked this. Hold on. Yeah, looking at the lint in their belly buttons. No, not Haystack Calories. There he is. There's Haystack. That dude was a hoss. All right, wait, I've got other messages here. Wait a second. What's going on? Why is my Discord blowing up? Oh, I see. We've got all the... What is all this? Classic Drive app.xml. Classic Drive motor, and XESC. So what is it? This is all XESCs should have those apps. Hold on, let me go to like something over here. I'm reading a PM. Oh my God, this is a violation. You're not allowed to do this. All XESCs should have those apps and motor profiles. All motors get the Drive app 2, get Mower Drive 1. Get app 2. Two of them get Motor Drive 1. Wait. 2 get Mower Drive, 1 gets Mower Drive Mower, the blade controller. Okay, so basically, Momo is 3 motors. One of them is the blade, and then the 2 are its little feetsies, right? So the 2 little feetsies get 1 app, and then the motor gets a different one because they're different profiles, they do different stuff. We're gonna have to take that one at a time and just be careful. The MySpace angle, isn't that like above or below or something? I take advantage of angles quite a bit on this stream. This is a very calculated position for the camera. You'll notice it cuts off right there. I'm a streamer. I sit at a desk all day. Like, I'm not going to be super fit. Maybe eventually I will be, I hope. I need to change my entire attitude around food, but I love food. I really like cooking, and so it has changed. It is going to take a while for the changes to actually have an effect. I've got so much like potential energy stored in my body that it's going to take a little bit. I've always eaten twice a day. I don't eat breakfast. Although I had been snacking at night. That's the big culprit, and I kind of cut that off. So yeah, I cook everything, and yep. No, there's the MySpace angle, but then there's also the like chud angle where you're holding the phone, but you're in your car and you've got your dark sunglasses on. Breakfast is the most important meal. Not for me. I don't really like eating breakfast because it'll send my glucose levels all over the place. There we go. I have become a cybernetic human. More human than human. Can I still read chat? Not really. I think you look fine the way you are. You look like you. I appreciate that, but I mean, my heart doesn't. My heart does not appreciate the way that I look. Not that I have any problems, but I'm definitely teeing myself up for some down the line. I have been exercising. You know, we got a dog 3 years ago, and I've been walking around with the dog quite a bit. It's not structured exercise though, so I think I need to refurbish the bike at some time soon and get that running so that I can actually get a little bit of exercise under my belt. I used to do an hour a day on the bike, 3 days a week, hour a day on the bike, and I was svelte. I lost all the weight, but things aren't going to spring back the way they did back in the day. So that'll be interesting. How do you have energy the first 6 hours of the day? What, without breakfast? I drink coffee. I guess that counts as a breakfast. I am fully charged and energetic. Beep boop. Actually, I'm not. My eyes are a wreck today because I didn't really sleep because of allergies. Allergies have been really bad in the Northeast lately, in the Philly area, namely. And while it absolutely, like, most of the area got destroyed with rain, which brings down the allergens, it washes away all the pollen that's on stuff, and whatever allergens are there. We didn't get rain where I am. I don't understand it. We didn't get rain. There was no rain. Everywhere else, like Allentown is underwater. Like, I don't understand it at all. The shitting parasite lettuce in the Northeast. I have managed to avoid it. We don't have any Taco Bells around here. I don't know. They just, I guess whatever farms doesn't supply us with lettuce or something. And we've been washing our lettuce and everything. I love that goofy song. What, the one that was on before? I could use the shitting parasite lettuce. Yeah, lose some weight. Miguel Oz! Thank you for the sub. Why didn't the light go off? Maybe it didn't, I just didn't notice it. Oh, the more human than human? Yeah, that's a good song. It's a little Rob Zombie. Cyborg, finally some content. Hey, this is content. Man, not everything can be a revolutionary project. It's a bit weird with every news outlet started talking about explosive diarrhea on their front pages. That's the fun part. I saw some posts where it was like, I don't believe this parasite lettuce thing. I'm eating at Taco Bell. And the next post was hospital. Those glasses are raving. I got these, they were like 40 bucks, which is a little expensive for a prop. And I thought what I'd be able to do is take them apart and take them over somehow. The thing is, it uses an STM32, which, you know, these do too. The STM32 is like a workhorse. It's like a powerhouse for stuff like this. Cheap too. It's a nice microcontroller, really good one. There's a whole bunch of different ones, but I've never really programmed with one, so it's a little bit daunting for me to work with. I mean, I obviously can, and we looked around. I mean, there's an STM32, there's a charge controller, and then I think that there is a programming hookup on this thing. So it's possible, if I get lucky and somebody else has decided to do it already, because I'm not going to sit here and program this from nothing, I'd be able to take this over and make it do my own stuff, or WLED. Probably not WLED. It's too much of a screen for WLED. But in lieu of not doing all of that, they are a cool prop. So I don't think I wasted my money specifically, but yeah. What the fuck are you saying? Can't shit in the company truck. Hoska. You have gone too many Facebook cats, Facebook construction kittens for you. Your brain has turned into mush. But it would be cool to have like my own stuff on this, and obviously you can program these, but you have to have their app. And I just don't want their app. I don't want random apps on my phone. I've gotten to an age where I do not want random ass applications for random toys, right? Because you never know what they're doing. You never know what they're doing on your phone. I'm stuck wearing glasses and can't wear sunglasses. You just trade your vision in for looking cool. That's all you do. The money wasn't wasted. A little bit. But it's gonna need, no, but the problem is, in order to program the glasses, it's going to need Bluetooth. And if I give it Bluetooth, it probably also gets Wi-Fi. It's why you always have these apps asking you for like, you know, the Taco Bell app needs access to your contacts. And you're like, why? It's because it's tied into another permission that it needs. So I have a feeling that in enabling this thing to communicate with the app, I'll probably open up the field for, you know, whitelisting a propaganda server on my browser, which has happened. That has happened to my phone before for these good video maker lights to use their app. It whitelisted a propaganda server. Can I hit the like button so you make money? I assure you that I will not make money, but I would appreciate you hitting the like button. That's, you know, that's just one of those things. We don't have enough YouTube viewers. If we had more YouTube viewers, if it suddenly popped off, if something memeable happened and I became part of the zeitgeist, who is this? What are you doing? Blimeys? Why would you do something so personal as to use one of your only Prime sub on me, of all people, for 7 months? Blimeys, thank you so much. I appreciate those. Those Primes, they don't really remind you to use your Primes, so using them is it's special. It's a special little bit of effort that's been put in. Posting propaganda or serving it to you. Enabling whatever that server is. It was like a website that was whitelisted in the browser, and it was something like 123.com, which I don't think that wasn't actually what it was, but it was like that. And apparently that address has been known to spread propaganda. That's sort of, it's all a little wishy-washy, right? Looks like you're going to need more flux. Yeah, those primes. Yeah, you guys will personally fund my next tacky flux pen because this is indeed running out. This is starting to get it's getting a little light. We've used up so much flux. I used up so much flux doing the soldering that, yeah, it's gotten there. You have a bunch? Oh yeah, if you want to drop one. Are they syringe pens though? Because it's not, if it's like we had a thing of flux that was like a shoe polishing thing, and that was not the right one. It's like, they are okay. Yeah, I could definitely use them. That would be awesome. I don't need a ton. I just need one, because this has been the flux pen for about, actually since the street. No, I did buy one at some point. I bought one at one point, and it was like 5 years ago. So this is, I thought I bought two. This used to have a label on it, and then the label went away, and it turns out they're using BD syringes. I don't know how BD feels about their product being sold. I guess if you make flux, if you make the flux the chemical, you could just put it in a BD syringe and distribute it as you please. What's up, J. Nico? How you doing? How's it doing? How you doing? How you going? How you going, mate? When my cousin, who is in Brisbane, not Brisbane, my cousin in Brisbane pops in every now and then, and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning for him, but I'm always like, how you going, mate? Doing the shittiest Australian accent I can to try to embarrass him maximally. I could do the other Australian accent where they for some reason they talk like this, and oh, you know, mate. Anyway. Stupid accents. I can never make these work. Like in the shower, in my own time, if I'm talking in a low voice, I can get all these accents perfect. They're indistinguishable from. No, they're probably terrible. But I feel like I can get them really well. And then as soon as the camera starts rolling and I have to do it at theater volume, it's all just. I can't do it. So I try not to. Work wants me to sign a new, hold on, I gotta move a window in order to read that properly. A new arbitration agreement after 20 years? I sing really well in the shower as long as nobody else hears me. It sounds great. I know, it's one of those things. That's, you got an Aussie cousin? Yes, I do. It's my uncle, married an Australian woman, and they go back and forth, and so there's family way out there, and then my mother's side of the family is from Northern England, so my original grandfather on her side had sort of that "oi love" kind of accent. They're like right upstairs and they can probably hear me. It's anyway. Yeah, arbitration for a job sounds a little weird. I was going to say one of the big telltale signs that, at least in my career, had sort of ushered in the you might want to polish off the resume button was standard operating procedures. And it might not seem all that weird because what we did was figure out a method of analyzing stuff. And so start to finish, we had kind of almost an algorithm on how to manage the different teams and getting these sort of analysis tasks done. And so it sort of naturally rolled into standard operating procedures, and that they would be able to put together a binder full of instructions that they could drop off in the woods, and a full IED analysis committee would pop up where the binder was, right? That sort of seemed to naturally flow from that, but it was also sort of the arbiter of things to come, to reuse the word, in that they wanted to get us expensive consultants out of there and get a bunch of technicians in to do the job. So that was one of the signs that you'll want to start, you know, give that resume another look. I don't know if that's what that means for your career, but arbitration agreements, strange, yeah. I don't even know what that would entail. All right, let's maybe get started here. We should probably get started. It's been 7 years. It's been 40 minutes. So there's something sticky on the desk. Hold on a sec. Disgusting. Oh, I can't reach anything. Where did my Windex go? I think it's way back here. Oh, it's dark out. Okay, it might storm here. It's gonna storm where I am. And that means while our power is generally pretty good, the surrounding area might get some switching activity done, which means the power might blip. And if the power legit goes out, I have to stop streaming because the internet equipment, not my internet equipment on batteries. We got a generator on the house. So we're good. But the somewhere in the infrastructure, something doesn't have a battery backup and it doesn't have a generator. So something out of my house I don't have control of, so that'll knock out stream. Xylene. What's xylene? What is, huh? Lean into xylene. What is XYLENE? Clear flammable chemical solvent with a sweet odor. Ortho, meta, and paraxylene. It's a paint thinner. Oh, the nasty paraganos. Okay, I use Windex for everything because it's like water. It's like water with ammonia. And then when I really need to do something, I'll use orange flavored acetone because it makes my nose feel good. I have one of those nasty solvents. We were trying to smooth PETG prints, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it having horrible, nasty chemicals all over the place. Other employees also getting the arbitrations, less worried now. If it's just an update, that's fine. If I was one of the few selected, yeah, I would be more worried. Yeah, I don't really know what to make of that whole thing. IT for a print company, I see. Do they think they can replace you with AI and then something immediately breaks and they go, oh no, where's the IT person? Because IT is, you know, given the transient functioning nature of technology, IT is a pretty solid shoe-in for a career. You're not really getting your foot out of that door. Or wait, you're getting your foot in you're carry the one, yeah. Work was heavy until the costs started rolling in. That's the fun part, is now everybody has to pay for the AI. It's not the fun part. This is the part that's horrible and everybody should have seen coming 300 miles away. But it seems like managers were so hard about, they just got such a big boner about laying off all of their workers. Okay. Horrible apocalyptic stuff aside, let's get started. Get that out of there. Let's get the music. Just slowly fade out the music. Okay, it just stopped. Hi. Hello, it's me. Did you guys know that I occasionally stream? Like every now and then. I didn't stream. I rage quit last stream and then I didn't stream the next day. I was fuming. I was very mad. I wasn't able to find my big gas soldering iron. Somehow that didn't get into all of my like the most used tools that I have around here. I ended up looking in, of all places, the saw blade bin, and I found these. Why was it bother? Why was it in the saw blade bin? I don't know. Listen, that's just where I put it. And I kind of knew it was there. I probably would have been able to find it on camera like last stream. But I decided to stop stream so that I could actually properly give it a look and then actually come up with the techniques to do the soldering that I need to do on this device. And so I spent the weekend, and it was like maybe a day's worth of work, pulling apart the motor controllers, putting new wires on them, almost burning my fingers. You had like weird feeling fingers afterwards because of all the heat involved in this stuff, and using the torch iron to get everything done. This thing is awesome. If you are looking to do like a scooter or you know, these things with big chunky wires that need like big soldering done for high current applications, you're going to be dealing with a lot of copper and a lot of solder. And so if you're doing that, something like even a 300-watt soldering iron with a heat booster on the end is not going to be enough. And so you will find yourself in a situation where either your soldering iron tip has just welded itself to a big pad because all of a sudden it got good contact with a whole lot of solder, and that whole lot of solder pulled all the heat out of your iron. And your iron doesn't have that sort of well of heat, and it's unable to supply enough heat in order to get that big thing to fully melt, because now it's coupled with a ground plane that's heat sinking all of your heat away. Right? This happens. This is a terrible thing, but it happens. And so your soldering iron is suddenly immobile and it's just attached to this device where if you try to move it a little too much, it's going to crack the solder plane or crack the, you know, hurt the circuit board in some way. So in comes the torch soldering iron. You see, these things are surrounded by lower temperature plastics. And so using the torch directly on them, generally frowned upon. You can preheat the board. That helps a lot. If you put just general heat into the area, that will help a whole lot. This thing even probably could use a little bit of preheating, but what I ended up doing, using the gas soldering iron. This thing is from Weller. This is probably overkill compared to what like some other soldering, like big soldering irons can do. You know, you've got that thing with like the gun with the little trigger and the lamp on the front that might be able to put enough heat into this, but if I want to do it cleanly, I really want to have like a good tip on this. And I used not only this one, but I used the big wedge to do this sort of brutal soldering that needed to be done. Hold on, let me get it out. This thing is just a big chunk of metal. I think it's for cutting stuff. Yeah, the old tippy tip top. These are my top tips. These are actually my top tips. These are my highest temperature tips. But this thing, I think it's for like splitting things like rubber, where you would have your hot soldering iron that would just like melt through with the wedge as like a big blade. But I used it because it's big. It has a lot of momentum to it. I don't know. I only have 3 tips for this thing. I think I had more. I don't know what happened to them. One of them is this guy for doing sort of more precise stuff. The other one's this big wedge. And then the third one has just a big heat reflector on it. It's for shrink wrapping things. But this little buddy is so awesome here. Let me just show you guys it in work. Yeah, I don't know about welding, but maybe unwelding plastic, because this thing is a force of destruction. These are monsters. These are monsters. So you turn it on with this, adjust it back here, and this is where the fill port is. Holds quite a bit of fuel. And then this is your little barbecue sparker. So what you do, turn on the gas and then spark. But did it light? I don't know. I don't know if it lit. So I'm just going to keep sparking it because I didn't hear it go foomp. I'm listening for a foomp. Was that a foomp? Oh yeah, and then wavy lines are coming out of it. So when it heats up and the thing's actually on, I don't know if it's on. I'm going to cause a big explosion here. It should heat up pretty quickly. Yeah, there we go. That part glows, and that's actually the exhaust port. So if we look at, you can't really see it on the thermals, but if I were to put something that reflects the thermal energy, you can see the tips of my fingers, or oh, there's the heat stream. Yeah. So this thing is utterly brutal. This thing will absolutely destroy everything in your life if you give it time to heat up. I'm not going to give it time to heat up. Even then, these motor controllers, there's a little like convection flow to this. So this has vents on the front, and then there's little vents under here. I love this thing. All the engineering in this thing is great. My lightsaber soldering iron. Anyway, to use a specific type of solder, I use my normal solder, and actually getting my normal solder into whatever the hell evil substance they had on this thing before. Whatever they had on this before was much higher temperature. It actually was crazy. It would not capitulate. It wouldn't fully melt the pads. And so I really had to I had to get my own solder in there and like mix it into the pad so that it would flow over on the whole thing. And then, of course, my own gas soldering iron eventually caught up. But as I was doing it, the whole board would heat up. And I was unable to get the heat into that board in order to get it to capitulate and actually like flow over. I ended up getting some pretty good looking solder joints on these though. So these are good. And they're probably easier to solder now. I don't know. Maybe with enough of an evil brute force of an iron. But I didn't really want to melt any stuff around here. One of the things is I don't have this size plug. I thought I had a bunch of these. Thought I did. But I adapted it over to a 4-pin plug for the serial communication. I'm going to have to put markings on this to make sure that that's sort of like a known plug position. But yeah, what I did is I ended up getting these things to finally solder. Getting the two 18-gauge wires on the plus and minus terminals was a challenge. And then the symmetrical pins over here, I just put it over to pin headers because everything is 0.1-inch spaced pins. And I decided to use two 18-gauge to go into the battery terminals. And then for the motor terminals, I used three 16-gauge. So this thing is pushing a grand total of 2 amps and maybe more sometimes. So this will be plenty of wire to carry that amount of current, but doubling it up I think was necessary. Yeah, so that's what I spent my weekend on, is figuring all this stuff out and then making all the little wiring harnesses. It was not easy. You need one of those with a thermite nugget. Yeah, you need thermite practically to solder these things. I was worried about parts falling off of the other side of the board because I was putting so much heat on the one side of these motor controllers, but I think we got them all done. And then I had the pinout here from the KiCad files for the robot mower motor controller to tell me where the Hall effect sensors were and everything. So we have adapter plugs for that. So now that I've changed it all over to my formula of solder and I've gotten all the wires wired, I can't just boot this thing straight up. These, I guess all of the motor controllers are based on a particular type of controller, and then I need to figure out how I'm going to get settings and software and stuff to them and make sure that they'll power up without blowing up. These things, by the way, were indisposable to do this job. I ended up putting bits of silicone rubber hose on the ends here. They had sort of these plastic grippies before, and these things melt. So the silicone rubber tube can actually withstand the soldering temperature. So these were awesome. They're just little magnet cups, and this is all metal down here, so you're not going to melt it with hot air. And then yeah, the only meltable part was the little grippies. I don't understand why they don't put silicone rubber on it. Probably because it costs money. What is it doing outside? Hold on a sec. I guess it just looks ominous. It's not really doing anything yet. Okay, so now that I've done all the hardware, did the fun part without you guys, I'm sorry, but I didn't know if my techniques would work at all. I was struggling. There was a big struggle to get heat into that board. That was very, very difficult. And I don't know, maybe I need some kind of like a giant, Flatulent Gonad was showing off this giant soldering iron. I don't know if I have the electrical energy in my house to create that kind of heat. But yeah. Got all that hardware done. We're ready to put the motherboard back into Momo, plug it in with just the battery, and then perhaps I can turn this thing on one motor controller at a time and plug it into USB. From there, what do? I don't know. I have been sent motor profiles, and then I've also got XML drive app. So maybe that works with the software in order to load the parameters up to the individual motor. I've never done this before, so come along with me and we'll see if we don't blow up Momo. I hope we don't. You can spin the motors via the ESC program. Okay, so that's what I guess I'm hoping to do. So I'm gonna have to put Momo up on something. I think I'll put Momo on a stool. So Momo, because Momo takes up the whole bench. The whole entire bench. So we'll just get this stuff out of here. That filter I am waiting for parts on. I need to buy parts for that. Load the profile first and then you can spin the motor up. Okay. Do I plug it in without a motor connected to load the profile? Is that what I do? Verify they're all choo-choo with power and then USB connect and try to power them on. So if I just plug in USB with nothing else plugged in, or do I plug the... Okay, wait, I gotta reread the comments here. One sec, hold on. I don't know the process here, and Big John has obviously done this. I have not done this. So these are fully reprogrammable via this application that I have over USB, probably as a COM port. And if they get that profile, they'll know what the motor parameters are and be able to effectively control everything. Here is process. Yes, okay. Sorry, I'm cleaning as I go. Remember, if you clean up too much, it'll scare the electronics and then they won't function. So this is all strategic. This is strategic clutter. I'm strategizing. 1, connect to USB, then load up the ESC program, load the app and profile onto each board, verify the motor accepted via program, rinse and repeat. Okay, so we can do that, yeah. So before we bring Momo over, I will unhook the 3 motors and we will get them wicked smart with give them their own little program, and so they'll know which way is up. Okay, cool. Thank you for that. I'm actually gonna put that in a... We'll just go ahead and Control-C. Check the wiki link for pictures on where you do via the program. Okay. I was gonna try to just wing this and get it all wrong and then blow everything up and then haha, funny streamer. Okay. So configuring the ESC. So we got that whole thing there too. Yeah. New text, this. I'm such a boomer. I have to do this in a text file, huh? All right, now there. Okay, there we go. Got that. Just in case I lose power. Just in case I lose. Oh, we're gonna be configuring ESCs today, and there's a storm. Oh boy. I don't think I'll lose power and brick anything. I don't know if you can brick these like that. The controllers are a universal hardware set. You're loading in a BIOS for the motors you're driving. That's kind of cool. So the hardware is like an agreed upon thing. And so all these different motor controllers are just different hardware. And then the software is sort of more universal to them. That's cool. I like that. I like that. Okay, so let's get our first motor unplugged here. Which one are we doing? So this is the left wheel. We'll see how my solder joints hold up to a little bit of flexure. One of them popped off and I was really concerned. I guess I didn't tin it properly, but these are, I used flux on all of them and they're all tinned and everything. They should hold up really well. I didn't drown them in hot glue. I probably could have done that. And then, you know, if this isn't great, what I can do is put a proto board down and then the proto board would hook up to this stuff. It's just that these were wider, and so I decided not to use the proto board idea. These are actually wider than the ESC that was there before. They'll fit, but it's just a little, you know, it's going to be a little jank. But this hardware is nice and universal. You could pop in another one of these. You'd still have to solder the big guys, and these were a little bit difficult, but I took the heatsink off and then did the wire from an angle on either side, and so that just sorts itself out over here. Okay, so USB... I know this, I have this. Oh my, you bastard. Why is that so heavy? Why are you so heavy? What's going on? Oh, it's going through the handle. Wait, where is that? Oh, that's the one going away. Wait a minute. Give me this. This is the Steam controller, the original Steam controllers little desktop thingy-majig. They gave you just this little adapter that had a tiny bit of weight to it. And so I used that as my hookup to the USB hub, which sits over here. That USB hub connects to the USB-C hub for slightly faster data transfer that goes along the back of this desk up to the rack mount computer. We're doing little spirals around the desk. As you know, streaming involves just about every kind of USB peripheral known to man. The only thing I'm missing is like a QCat. I could use a QCat so that I can get some barcodes in here. But yeah, I've got so many USB devices plugged in. It is a nightmare. Even still though, this ends up having enough transferability to do most programming things. It's still able to keep up. So first thing, this is very low stakes. I'm plugging in a 5-volt USB to the motor controller itself. Bada bingus. Nothing. So there are LEDs on this. They are here. But I don't know if they're doing anything. This should be working. So let's open up the program and see if it sees anything. I might need to find a slightly shorter USB plug. That's probably what I'll have to do. So where did the program go? That was somewhere, I don't think it was the desktop, was it? Where did we put that thing? Doot. We haven't seen any, oh, it's right here. It's right, literally, it's in my face. So run the VSC tool. I implicitly trust it. Killed my computer. Oh no, there it is. Welcome to VSC. This is the first time you start this version. No, I started it like 4 days ago. The introduction is shown. Please read all instructions carefully for your own safety. Next. Tool and firmware are experimental and might blow up your house. Cool. Is that a checkbox? Oh, that's a hard to see checkbox. I have a giant light in my face. Ooh, that's the wrong one. Where are we? So I couldn't see the checkbox because I'm streaming right next to the sun. This is one of the things they don't tell you about with streaming is a lot of streamers, not all of them, run something like a face light because these webcams, they have very tiny little light sensors in them. They're like cell phone cameras, right? And so they're not picking up a whole lot of light. So you got to blast your face off with a giant soft light so that people can actually see color. Streamers don't generally do that. And they don't do the thing where if you've got a green screen behind you, you need to put like a more warm light on the green screen. That'll emphasize the greens and it'll help the computer actually catch it and cut you out. There's a lot of like automatic features that streamers use and they look terrible. But yeah, one of the things is I stream and I have this giant light right next to me. So when you look at stuff on the computer that might not be, it might be night mode, I can't see it. I can't read it. Anyway, understand and accept. Hit next. The warranty statement. Okay. Sure. I understand the warranty. Oh, it's not letting me click until I get to the very bottom. Come on. You can't seriously put this kind of language in front of us and expect us to read 1.3. The customer agrees that prior to using this system that includes open source VESC restricted software, the customer will test such systems as the nobody's going to read that. And then you make them scroll to the bottom of the page in order to click the yes box. I have a problem with that. Finish. Okay, here we go. VESC software. So I'm looking around, I'm seeing stuff I recognize. Quick configuration, set up motors FOC, set up IMU, set up input, multi-settings. We've got connection, firmware, package, motor settings, app settings, data analysis. This is good stuff. This is a lot of the like professional motor control software suites do these things, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see in sort of open source hardware them doing the same. Now the question is, do I need to power this up? Do I need to give this thing 5 volts? Because I didn't see any lights start blinking when I plugged in USB. So I think that I probably do need to actually give it 5 volts. Let's see what our no. What are you doing? Connection settings. COM4 is, I think, something else. What I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug the motor controller and hit refresh. Yeah, so, okay, we're not, it's not seeing the COM port, which I guess the ESC is not powering over USB. So I guess I can give it 5 volts, and that would be through this bottom pin here and then ground over here. So let me power up the power supply, and we'll get a couple jumpers so I can do this cleanly. Check the insert on the boxes. They have a QR code. This is the insert, unless there's something else. Hopefully I still have it. Let's check. Hold on. Checking boxes. I have the boxes over here. Whoa! What is pulling? Oh, I got stuck on the stool. How does this always happen? Give me the wire. Give me the wire. Give me the stupid... Okay. Always happens. I think there was an insert in the... No. Look at all the stuff I have. Let's see. I don't know. I don't think if I had it, it didn't make it. It might have gotten thrown out. I mean, if that's the name of the thing. I mean, I think if there was something that got tossed. The other side of this. Oh, here we go. But there's no QR code. Just flip sky. You can connect your ESC to a computer, and here's all the stats. All right, let's see here. So not right now, I just need to get it connected. Multiple times during the production cycle, ESC will provide optimum, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, nothing about whether or not it powers on USB, but I can give it 5 volt. Wait, 5 volts at 1.5 amps. Jeez. Oh, wait, no, but that's for providing other stuff with 5 volts, right? No, I think I just need to give it 5 volts and then it'll communicate. Because, well, let me try shorter USB first. Try that first, and then here, we'll use their own. Use the one that was sent to me. To try and power it up. And hopefully the storm does not cause undue. They did send the right, yeah, it's the correct USB plug, all right. That would be a trip if they sent me a USB micro, a mini micro, whatever. USB naming conventions are terrible. Okay. Check this out. You are not doing anything. No, no activity from the LEDs. I think I probably need to give it power to show up, because yeah, the virtual COM port is not showing up. Okay, let's give it 5 volts then. Proceed with my previous plans. And this thing's set at 12 volts. We'll make sure to set it back down to 5. I don't think I'll need a current limiter on this. That would be messed up if I did, because all we're powering with 5 volts is the electronics. So coming over to here, just get some jumpers from my meticulously organized jumper bin. Oh, these don't have, I need pins on the other side. One of these. Jeez, could that be a longer jumper? I don't think I need to be in another town when I power this thing up. Just right there is fine. Yeah, these will do. These will do just fine. All right. Maybe for one stream I should just sit here quietly. I'll just sit here quietly. not acknowledge chat. We need more avant-garde streams out there. Okay, so let's take 5 volt. And now, according to the KiCad diagram, I know that all the way on this side is plus 5 volts, all the way on this side is ground. So I am going to connect 5 volts and ground. That one is ground, double check. These are not going on very tightly. I don't like that. I may have to pop them open and bend some of the internals in order to get them to... I mean, I could just clamp directly. I don't have to use the headers. Probably better if I just do this way. The easy hooks will hold on to these 0.1 inch square posts pretty cleanly. Just loop them in a little bit. Sort of. Hey, it's better than the DuPont connectors that'll just come out. Okay, there. Oh yeah. But that's for this plug. We've got 5 volts on one end, and then they decided to use a minus symbol, which is kind of confusing because it looks like it's just a dash. Like, oh, that one's not anything. No, it's not a dash. That's minus. And that one's 5 volts. This keeps popping off, and it's not making me happy. So if we're going to be programming this thing, I kind of want the power to not pop off in the middle of it. So this will be a more reliable connection if I use ones that fit on cleanly. See, the problem arises, that one too, when I plug a multimeter probe into the end of these, that's when they kind of lose their tension and don't hold on to anything that they should. Nope, that one's not it. Well, there's one more in this. I would hope that that means that it's still got some spring. Oh no, that's not even, that's not even the right thing. Okay, hold on. I'll figure it out, folks. I mean, I could also just take the DuPont shroud off and bend the little thingy inside. Let's do that. That'll take less time than me going through all this stuff. So all you need is a hobby knife. Bend up the little tab on the DuPont connector, and then the connector slides out, and this whole like folded metal thing is what you are faced with inside. Yoink, yoink. There's the STM32. Okay, so little folded metal guy, little spring death puzzle, and you can see right here, these two, why is there... Why is it that the microscope reveals things like this? I was not aware of the mustard on my fingernail. I was completely unaware that after eating a leftover chicken sandwich that I would have mustard at all on my finger. It was clean. I wiped up. I even washed my hands. Okay, anyway. The thing I was doing. Oh, it's right here. See, these little DuPont connectors are just this like spring death puzzle of folded sheet metal. And it holds onto the wire so that it doesn't break off when it flexes a certain number of times. These crimps are very, very good things to have. And so you see there's a little spring on the back end there, just formed by folding the metal, and then on the front there's a little spring tab, and this one is the one that has failed. Okay, I just really poked my finger with the hobby knife. You got to be aware of where your hands are when you have a hobby knife in your hand. But all I need to do is just give that a little bend, and now we've got all of our tension back. So I'm going to do the same on the other one too, but we can put this one back. All we had to do was just poke in and fold that little piece of metal. So again, being very careful with the hobby knife. It's like that meme of the guy building the model and keep seeing more and more bandages on his hands until his friend finds him dead and then finishes the model that he was building. See, now that's holding on to that one there. Gotta bend it up again. It's got like a little tab. See how it kind of has an extra material under it? And it's actually possible that we could just poke in from up here and bend the tab, but the tab is kind of all the way at the front. But yeah, all you need to do, just hit that with a little bend. Now, these will only bend a certain number of times because the metal is super cheap. They use their cheapest of cheap metal on these things. But so then that goes right back in. And clicks. Bada bing. All right. So, not part of the project, but you know, sometimes you got to refurbish the tools that you use the most. But now these will grip super hard, and I won't have to. Oh, these really grip at the very end, don't they? DuPont square pin connectors can generally carry 1 amp. That's sort of the limit, and that's even that's a little hot. But 5 volts is only doing the electronics here, so it really doesn't need all that much current. We're going to be hyper aware of the amount of current that this thing draws, just in case this is on kind of a bad pin or something. And definitely positive to positive, negative to negative. Make sure that's correct. I do not want to blow these things up, as fun as it would be. And so now I flip on 5 volts and I pay attention to the current draw. 0.7. 100 milliamps, that's a lot, but that's fine. And we've got bright blue, bright LEDs coming off of this thing. So there's already a little bit of software on here, but we kind of want to program our way away from that. I got to make sure all these things don't collide with one another. And then we can plug this in to USB. So plugged into USB. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. At the very moment that I was sitting here poking these to keep them separate, something over there by the garbage can decided that it would go bump, and it scared the shit out of me. I'm glad I'm wearing brown pants, because stuff going boof in your garbage can. What even did that? What would make a noise like that? God, that's the universe conspiring against me. Let's refresh the COM ports, and you can see here, VESC on COM 7. All right, here we go. Now that my heart is in my frickin' like, all my hair is standing on end, and I'm a being that's made completely of adrenaline, we can actually go in and flash the motor settings. So, order of operation, connect it to the software, load up the ESC program. So in the PMs, my friend Habibi, he has sent me these programs. So we have Yard Force Classic Drive app, Yard Force Classic Drive motor. All XESCs should have those apps and motor profiles. So I'm going to download all these files. They're going to go in my massive pornographic download folder. Not the Yard Force app. Delete this and salt the earth from whence it came. Oh, last message. All motors get Drive app. Mower Drive 1 to 2 of them, and then one gets mower, the actual mower blade. So ESC app. So let's get rid of Yard Force Classic Drive motor. Drive _ app. Oh, Classic Drive app. That's the one that goes on. Okay, download that. And then Drive motor and then mower motor. Drive motor. Am I using the XESC app? I'm not doing Yard Force. It's the XESC. Okay. Okay, thank you. This would have been very confusing. So, this one goes. These are the 3. XESC goes on all of them. The motors get this. The mower motor gets this. Clear. Dogma. All right. Whew. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through this, chat. We're going to do this. I'm going to do this. I didn't look up the American wire gauge to make sure that our wires wouldn't explode. I didn't do that. Why would you think I did that? By the way, we have to look at this circuit for audio stuff. I need to figure out what the hell I was thinking when I built one of my VCOs. I tried to edit the mistakes that I had in the circuit board, and I don't know why I did what I did. We flipped it over to the other pole, but I think I needed. I'll explain some other time. It's too heady. It's too audio engineering stuff. All right, so VSC COM7, and we can actually, what is the, okay, disconnect, and that one's connect. The connected ESC-based ESC has old, oh thanks, but mostly compatible firmware. This is fine if your setup works properly. Check out the firmware changelog. Okay, listen, app, you think you know me. You don't know me. Okay, so what am I loading up here? Default.bin, and these are the app, that's the XML, so that would be the, yeah, the XESC app. Oh, the wiki page just shows us. Okay, all right, let's just look it up then. I wanted to muddle through it and get everything wrong. Expose the ESC to the network. What? Why? Stop Robot OS from interfering. Don't interfere. Stop it. Don't interfere. No, you stop right there. Don't you do it. Don't you interfere. Where are my doll hands? I have, just for this very thing, I have doll hands, but now I can't find the doll hands. The only doll hands I know is these over here. I think my doll hands are like somewhere around this. Hey, don't you, hey. This is very rude hardware that you sent me. Okay, that's enough prop, funny prop, haha, man. Okay, anyway. Yeah, if it's in the mower, I know. Robot OS is running on the Raspberry Pi, and so you don't want it to communicate. My other way of doing this is if this hardware were in Momo right now, we could just unplug this header with only a couple pins on it, and that's the TX and RX communication. So that way the mower would have nothing else to say. It would just be connected to the motor physically, and everything else in there is, you know, honky-dory. Would it still get power? Yeah, it would still, I think it would still get everything that it needs. So anyway, so yeah, we're not doing that. We're running Open Mower Express. We've got all our stuff in here. Connection, we've got connected. It's on the port and everything. Let's see. Firmware update available. If you encounter this warning message, you can safely ignore it. I don't know if we want to ignore it. I guess we are going to ignore it, right? Compatible with the firmware version. Yeah, it's still got the XESC stuff on it. Choose your configuration path. Preset configs yard force or Sabo John. This is a choose your own adventure tutorial. Upload the configurations. So we are going to file load motor XML. This makes a lot more sense than what I was thinking about. This, I've never dealt with this before. This is crazy. Load mower configuration, and then we want the XESC configuration. Pretty sure. Yeah, this looks pretty extensive. I've used proprietary tools, not open source tools. This has like a level of polish on it that you don't see from the professional tools. Like, what was that company? They sent me like $300 worth of motor controller stuff. The German quiet motor drivers. And they had all of these software applications. Didn't run on my computer. That was the first problem. But all of these like go so deep into like the amount of, well, the characterization of the motor, like how many micro henries the coils have and stuff like that. But okay, so we're loading a configuration, but what are we loading? Are we loading the app? These are configurations. The XESC, I guess, is the configuration for communication and stuff. So we got that. Could not load motor configurations. Tag MCC configuration not found. MCC configuration. Open with Notepad++. These are XMLs with all of the stuff. So XML version 1.0, app configuration, version 2, controller ID, timeout, etc. And so here's some of the deep settings. We're going to change this number. Don't ask why. Explosion. Gyro offsets. Whoa. There's a lot of stuff in here. So MCC configuration, I'm wondering if it just wants that one little line. Let's not trust, hold on, let's not trust my own. What was the word? Kraken used it yesterday. It was, it's when you go on, you think you're right, but you don't have anything to back it up. He was using it very wrongly in a sentence, but the word itself, I was like, I remember that word. I should know. I should use that more. That's a supposition. Let us not trust my suppositions and actually back all of the things we do with a little bit of data. So, file load motor configuration. Select the motor configuration XML for your motor. Ignore the version message. See, none of that came up. It's actually just the XESC app. Just looking to see if there's something else I need to be doing. Oh, the config first and then the app. Okay, that's backwards from what I thought. So we want the drive motor. Wait, classic drive motor wasn't the right one. Yardford classic mower motor is the second one that was sent. Drive motor, mower motor, classic drive motor. Okay, I do have the right one. Yeah, two drives and one. Yeah, okay. Those are the correct ones. I'm so confused. Help. Okay, so if we load configuration XML from the downloads, we want drive motor, because this is motor, the left side drive motor. Open that. Okay, that loaded it. And then I upload this, and then do I load the next one? Hold on, let's just go back to my instructions. This is probably pretty frustrating. Oh, load app config, I see. Load motor configuration, select XML config, ignore configuration thing, write the motor configuration. So we need to select it, and then we need to write it. Where do we do that? Classic drive motor. Hold on. I'm getting there. So configuration, then we go to not connection. Select motor XML configuration. We did that. We got the warning. We need to write it. Oh, did it? It did it. It did it. That message came up on down here. Wow, you can do this through Canvas? That's cool. So I think it loaded everything. You need to hit right? From where? On the lower right? Connected, is it the anchor? It is the anchor. It is the anchor. No, it's not. Motor config, auto connect. Huh? I thought we were already connected. Connected, serial, COM7. Old but mostly compatible firmware. And then it popped up that, I think when I loaded the file, the down arrow. Scan can. Are you talking about the anchor? No, you're talking about something else that I'm not seeing because I'm stupid and I'm on the air right now. Write motor config. Right up arrow, down arrow with an M. Is that, there should be pop-up, but I guess that's the button. There it is, there's the pop-up. That's what I was looking for. Right motor config. Okay. Whew. We got there. We got there. So sorry, everybody. Yeah, that's what it is, Blark. Slow ABS current limit is set. This should generally not be done as it greatly increases the chances of permanently damaging the motor controller. Only change this setting if you know exactly what I look like I know what I'm doing. General ABS overcurrent faults indicate that something is wrong. The configuration of the setup is pushed beyond reasonable limits. This is too heady of a warning for me. All right, so we've written it. So now we load the app config. Oh, good, take your time. This is like, I'm trying, man. Load app configuration XML. That is going to be drive mower. The mower motor, the one in the middle, has the red wire in the middle. So the ones with the red wire, oh no, the one with, for the mower motor has 2 red wires. These have 2 black wires. So this is the drive motor. Oh, okay. App configuration not found. How does it want me to do it? Yeah, load app configuration XML. Because we wrote the motor configuration. Load and then write. Using that button. Wait, did it show that button and I was just missing it on the little arrow? No, it didn't show me the button. There it is. There it shows me the button. Okay, why did I miss that? So this isn't load app configuration XML. Yard Force Classic Drive Motor. Open. Could not load app configuration. Tag, app configuration not found. Why was app configuration not found? I mean, I guess it doesn't have that in here. What the? Motor description, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Discord, yoink. Load the motor XML, write the motor configuration. I thought I wrote it. Because okay. Well, let's start over. So, load the motor configuration XML. That would be XESC app. Or no, that's not the app. Wait. Oh, I clicked on the wrong. Okay. Classic mower motor. Open that up. Because we are currently connected to ESC7. So that's loaded and it got a green light over there. So now I can load it to the motor. That updates it. Okay. And then I can do load the app configuration. And then unlike the idiot that I was 3 seconds ago, I can actually click on the XESC app, which I did not connect. Ugh, I didn't click on the right thing. So now the app is loaded. So now I hit down and A. I point down and I hit A. Doink. Now that's written. This completes the tutorial. You know, upload the video. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so now I know how to do this. Let's do the other two. Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. I really should just sit down and look at the individual things that are circled in the images of the tutorial. Okay, so we can disconnect this one. So power it down, unplug USB. I thought I powered you down. There you go. Unplug the wires. And then that's left motor. I'm going to put that right there. All right, lawn dog. Good to hear. being part of the Borg collective. That's good. So I don't want to power up all of Momo yet. This is crazy. I've never done this stuff before. This is really kind of advanced. I mean, it's nice that I'm not sitting here measuring how many microhenries are in the coil itself, how many ohms the motor is, and that this big motor can kind of like just do its thing very smartly, very advanced stuff. And it sort of takes all of that motor knowledge stuff that I had and automates it nicely. So just make sure I don't, all these exposed pins, I don't want to power anything weird. So negative to negative, positive to positive. Then we hit it with 5 volts, but we still watch how many amps this thing takes. 0.7, 100 milliamps rather. Okay, 100 milliamps within reason. If it was like an amp, I would immediately shut it down. So this thing is happily buzzing away, but now we got to ruin its day by plugging it into USB. And then we look on the motor app. I've always known exactly how to do this, by the way. I'm just doing this for you guys. I'm just dumbing it down for you guys. I didn't really hit disconnect, did I? It seems to think that it's COM7. I'm going to disconnect. I'm just going to use the app and disconnect. And then reload. I guess it came in as COM7 as well. That's a little strange. Let's see if we can actually connect. Yep, the firmware's old. That's fine. So now, using the menus, as they should, load the motor configuration. And the configuration for this one, because it's got the 2 red wires on it, this one is the mower motor. And then we load by pointing down and hitting M. Loaded motor configuration, write the motor configuration updated. Then we load the app, XESC app, open it. Wait a minute, let it get its bearings. App config, right, okay. Then we disconnect. Not connected. Okay, now we're done with that one. So we're going to do these 3, and then we're going to plug them in individually into Momo. Let's turn that off at the power supply. And verify that they work. I guess since it loaded the XESC app, all that communication stuff that I was worried about isn't a thing. They should simply just work. And once Robot OS talks to them, they should be okay. And then I guess my buddy will have to like go into the Robot OS and make sure that they're all good, which I think they will be. But, you know, we'll verify them with the app here and make sure that they can move the motors that they need to and get all their Hall sensor stuff, all the hardware is good. And then I'll turn it over to him, and Momo will have to leave us for now. Sun's getting low, Momo. You got to hit that dusty trail. I got some mowing to do. The heck? Oh, no, Momo doesn't sound like that. That's not Momo. That's not Momo. Who have you been talking to? Who have you been talking to about Momo? You have to tell me. Okay, minus there, and then we get plus over here. I should have like a capacitor that I could just blow up just because. Just for funsies. Just to make this more like Uo's stream. Why can't you be like Uo? Refresh. Only CCOM 4. Oh, I didn't plug in USB. That makes sense. Doink. These are cool, man. I should build like a little motor scooter or something. My big plan, the thing that I've really wanted to do for some time, not all that much time, but I want to take basically one of those old play school cars, the little yellow roof car, the red car with the yellow roof, and I want to put like a little Pee-Pee doll in that, Pee-Pee being the frog that is all over Twitch emotes. People will say, you know, it's a racist icon. It's not. 4chan sort of co-opted it for a little bit, but we've taken it back. It's ours again. The creator of Pee-Pee is trying desperately to get PP declassified as, because you know he made that character for his own comic and it had nothing to. Anyway, the point is, it would be very funny with the little PP driving emote. He's in one of those little play school cars going across the screen. I would love to go to like a Twitch convention with an RC version of that, with a camera that sort of looks over PP's shoulder, and so PP can have like a phone in a cradle that'll be chat. And then you get the over the shoulder, so you see his little hands on the wheel driving around in one of these little play school cars. And I could drive around conventions, you know, I could spray paint all of my information on the top, but I could be off in the background running a stream, sort of one of the streaming, you know, backpack kind of rigs, running a stream. It could just be a cell phone stream too, where I basically just find the most famous creators on the floor and run into their ankles. I think that would be a very, very funny stream to do. You just have this little PP driving around his little play school car, and then bap right in the shins for some, you know, famous. Is that Pokeball? Bonk. It would be kind of amazing. Oh, that's an ad. I just heard that. I heard a little click. That means we're in an ad. So I'm going to keep talking about the PP thing. Let's talk about my PP. Let's program the last one of these because it's not that exciting. We'll just get this done. So load motor configure classic drive motor for the yard force. Open that. And let's wait, am I even connected? Not connected. Oops. Refresh. COM7. Connect. Firmware update. Okay. File. I'm going to load it again. It's already loaded, but I'm going to load it again. So this is a drive motor because this is the right-hand wheel motor controller. And then we download it to the controller. Config updated. Cool. And now we go app configuration, ESC app. And then we wait for it to catch up. Okay. There we go. And then we load it. App config, right, okay. Disconnect. You got 1:16 until the ad's over. So we're gonna wait for the advertisers to get back. And let's see, we're all good. Not connected. Power down. Okay. Now we gotta bring in Momo. Yeah, actually, Lawn Dog can hear me, although they've left. But it's good to hear updates from people who have started CGM therapy and stuff. It's sort of crazy how important the constant glucose monitor really is to glucose control. It's, I mean, there's a good reason why all of these sort of health hacker people are buying their way into having one. For a while, there was a lot of controversy about people not being able to get them. There was like a supply shortage for the constant glucose monitor hardware stuff because biohackers were buying them and using them without having diabetes, which I think is kind of terrible. But also, like, if you want to spend the money to get a glucose meter, like a constant glucose meter, I support that. I fully support that because that's awesome. There's a lot of information that can be sort of gleaned off of biomonitoring on that level. It's just when it makes supplies rare for actual diabetics, that's when I got a problem. But there's such good technology. I mean, it's kind of a really excellent data point to have, to be able to know how your body individually processes glucose. And I think, in my opinion, it is a more important technology than the insulin pump. I think before getting a pump, people should be getting a constant glucose monitor. For me, I've taken that up to the next level, and there's a feedback loop between my glucose monitor and my insulin pump so that it can divvy out insulin as needed and actually kind of take over the job of my pancreas. Hey, everybody, you guys are back from ads now. Yeah, I was just talking about random stuff. So we were talking about the constant glucose monitor, totally off the deep end on that one. That came out of nowhere. I am Okay, we've now programmed all of our motor controllers. So the motor controllers know what they are. They know how to communicate with the operating system. What we need to do now is we need to put the motor controllers and the motherboard into Momo, and then we can manipulate them through the app. So through the app, we'll be able to move the motors and make sure that everything is speaking to itself. At that point, it is going to take a Wi-Fi connection. Once we get all three of the motor controllers in here and we can verify that they work, I basically need to put Momo back together and then we're done. We're handing it back over to my friend who actually has the screws that can close the lid, and then he can get into the robot operating system and manipulate all this stuff. Thinking about along those same lines, I can now graph what foods do to me and types of foods and how they affect me. Well, you can't isolate that though, because you're still going to be living life. And so environmental factors will manipulate your processing of foods. The one thing I learned when getting the CGM so many years ago was that I have a superpower, and that superpower is processing white bread into functional glucose in my bloodstream. If I eat a slice of white bread, it almost immediately presents as glucose in my body. It's kind of a little crazy like that. All right, this is Momo's hardware. I'm going to see if I can prop Momo up so that the wheels, no, okay, so that the wheels are open, and the mower itself I've removed. The actual mower blade is not in this thing anymore. That I've got sitting on a shelf. So how can we prop up a Momo? Hello, Momo. Basically need to get into the top. See, it's going to sit on the spinny part. 2 big blocks of wood. Let me see here. I can do anything. Let's see. Yeah, that'll actually do. A little precarious, but I think it'll be okay. So this is all the way on those little blades and all the way on the front end. And now Momo's floating because you are floating. Okay, Momo's floating. Move the light back a little bit. I've learned that the insulin I take in, the insulin that I take in the winter versus the summer can be different. Whoa. By small amounts, but there's still an adjustment to make there. Wow. That's a hell of a data point. Winter versus summer insulin. I would never think. I think your body just goes into winter mode. Like, oh, you can survive this tundra. We'll make sure of it. All right, so we got all our connectors here. Some of them are energized right now even. What am I stepping on? Why is there stuff on my floor? Jeez, I got a vacuum in here. Okay. Momo, welcome, Momo. So here's Momo's brain. We're going to refit Momo's brain with the device that has like a transmitter or an RF transmitter. You really want to make sure that you're plugging the antenna in, because transmitting on a connector without an antenna can damage the transmitter. So you want to make sure that that's plugged in. Everything else is optional, but I'm still going to plug in USB over here. We're going to isolate each individual motor controller and only plug in one at a time, and then we'll do all of them later. And then these are, well, actually, these are all sensors and stuff. These I don't think really have any strong bearing on Momo's functionality. What is this one? That's the charger. Okay. This is kind of pulling me over to one side here. Do 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 do. All right, that USB connector is like just a little tight. There we go. Okay, that's fitting on just right. Okay, 2 screws. Brand name, Yard Force Classic 500 is the product. It's the Yard Force Classic 500, but this has had a lot of modifications. And I think there's actually newer hardware that people use for the robot mowing project. But there's a bunch of different hardware that people use. But Yard Force Classic 500, kind of a nice little tub to put a bunch of robotics into. It's really a nice little chassis for doing robotics. It's got lift sensors and everything. It's got a little rain sensor too. I thought that was super clever. This really just rattles around in here, doesn't it? Until you tighten up the screws. You recognize it from TV commercials. I've never observed any of this hardware anywhere else. So, actually, do I know the name Yard Force? I might. Ooh, that flexes a little bit. Board-like. Shutters into position. Okay. And then I guess we're going to connect all these guys. This, and then this big old motherboard connection is for the motors. Where are the power supply? Is that stuck under the board? No. Okay. There's a lot of room in here. Do. Undertale or Deltarune music stuck in my head. Jevil. Okay. First motor controller. Plugs in this way. Got the power pins on the inside. Those are on the outside. Let's plug in the 3 motor phases. So let's hear. You guys come over here. Maybe you can get a slightly better looking shot. As I try to navigate this thing. So this one is serial communication. That goes in here. This one is all the Hall sensors. So that goes this way with all the plugs on the end. Then we have power there. First, second, and third phase. And if the motor goes backwards, apparently we can flip them. But then again, I think that's all configured within the motor controller software. Because flipping phases with Hall effect sensors, I don't think you're supposed to do that. The Hall effect sensors let your brushless motor sort of know where the magnetic fields are and manipulate them accordingly. It helps the motor go very slow. So there's our first controller without serial plugged in. And then I guess I can plug power in, but I don't think it powers the motor yet. There's a big spark. There's always a big spark when you plug that thing in. Yeah, it doesn't power this yet. So let's bring USB over here. And I got to watch this plug. This plug, I'm just going to put the neutral pin, the one that isn't connected to anything. I'm going to plug that into this right here so it can't hit anything and like short. I don't really think that would happen, but just in case, because we will be moving this motor, the one that's right here. So plug them a thing and then power on. Holy shit, that fucking light. Ow! Man! Okay, let's go to the software. God damn, that LED is nuts. So it sees COM7. Connect. Don't worry about the firmware. Now what do I do? Edit your motor settings. We're not touching this stuff. So setup plot ext monitor. Nope. Let's see, configure GPIO, inputs, Board configuration, robot OS. Okay, that's for the mower in general. They don't really tell us how to test this. I mean, obviously, the whole thing hasn't shorted out and stopped working by having the motor plugged in, but it would be nice to just kind of test ERPM sweep. Do I want to try that? Should I hit run on the sweep? Is that going to do it? Let's try. Run. Whoa, there he goes. Get this so it isn't touching the table. Jeez. Ooh, you can hear it. Momo is alive. Yeah, it works. How fast is this thing gonna go? Oh, it's almost done. All right. I don't know what direction it thinks it's moving, if we need to reconfigure that, but that went pretty well. TS2, and then there's a whole comparison window. Oof. A lot of stuff in here. All right, so from the experiments, I don't know about duty cycle sweep and stuff like that. I don't know if I really want to run that stuff, but we do know that that motor controller does work. No, it's not. It doesn't have like a differential. It's just two geared robot motors, but they are 3-phase motors with Hall effect sensors. So this thing, I mean, there was a lot of gear noise, but the motor operating itself is going to be like super smooth and silent. All right, so power down. We're going to do another test. Doink. I'm going to test these individually. So we'll just plug them into their respective locations one by one, just to make sure there's no errors. And then once I'm done that, we're done. Like, this gets handed over to my friend, and he can do those individual, like, direction, whether the direction is correct, configuration, all that stuff. I think he does it through Robot OS. So let's do the mower motor. That's this motor here. The spindle for this motor is just this little aluminum hex plate that's floating in air. So we're just going to listen for this one to function. This one is an audio-only motor. And then we'll do this one where we'll be nice and flashy and the thing moves around. And then I'll plug all of them in and we'll turn it on and we'll see if anything explodes. Which it won't, because I did this. And I do things correctly. I didn't know this would be so quick. With, you know, I can't thank Big John enough for helping me through that, because I was going too fast. And my brain was on camera, basically. When you're on camera, it's like you got to do things real quick. You got to make it punchy. And I wasn't stopping to like read and process what was going on. That tutorial was like super straightforward. It was all I needed, but I really wasn't paying attention to it properly. So it was very patient of him to stop and make me actually do the right thing. Hey, what's up, Ghost Lab? Ghost Lab. Go Slab. I am having a decent day. I feel like death, just because it's been threatening to rain here for a while, and so all the atmospheric pressure's been all over the place, and something has been setting off my allergy. I think there's a cat that moved in, but that's like 2 houses away. Like, that shouldn't affect me at all. But I feel like I've been having a lot of cat allergy, and I think it's probably like the aftermath of all the Canada smoke that we got. I don't know what's been doing it, but I felt like ass, like just straight up ass. This doesn't look like it, but it's actually kind of dark out. I don't know if we're going to get rain or not. And when it rains crazy like around here, excuse me, sorry for the hiccups. When it rains all crazy like around here, my power will sometimes fluctuate. So if anything happens to power, that's what happened to stream. Just know, when my stream is just a dust cloud in the shape of my stream, you're lying. You're a liar. You're a liar, program. You're a lying liar. Look at you, saying that you're connected to the COM port. Yeah, oh, look who refreshed. Bro refreshed. Okay, let's see if it powers on with this motor controller in here. I've got a lot of LEDs turning on. Two of them, well, a bunch of them are here. One of them's on the memory card, some on the GPS fluttering about. Where it looks like we're okay. This one I can't even look at. There's now a spot in my eye. I need to put tape over that one. And if we hit, oh, you lying liar. Okay, there it is, COM7. We connect. Yes, yes. Your OS is stupid. So I'm doing the experiments just to do a little RPM sweep on it. So let's do that and let's listen for this motor underneath Momo to come to life. There's no blade on it right now. I've got the blade sitting elsewhere. I actually need to figure out where I put the blade because I'm gonna have to put the blade back on at some point. So we're ready, here we go, boom. It starts very slow and I can hear it. And we can maybe peek under the skirt here and see if it's spinning. It's spinning. Ouch. Ow. Ow. Yeah, the way you test a mower, like a lawnmower, to see if it's actually, if the blade's working, is you got to reach under there and you got to actually touch the spindle for the blade. I don't make the rules. It's just how it's done. Okay, sweep is ended and we are successful and the motor is working the way it should. Now we go to the third one. So disconnect. Go back to the connect tab. And then power down. And I'm going to remove the motor controller. I'm doing this just to be really, really careful. Removing the whole motor controller just makes sure that, you know, the right stuff is plugged. We're isolating it to one thing. And I know the Raspberry Pi probably doesn't like being powered up and down the way that I'm doing. It should get enough time to fully boot in. And I think it'll be resilient to this, but this is just a temporary situation until Momo goes home, which is the one we haven't tested. I think, which is the one we haven't tested. I don't know which it is. Uh-oh. These two, I don't have a really good way to tell between them. Which one did I put? I probably just did this to get the other one. So this is the one we haven't tested. Listen, you guys didn't see that. This is definitely the one we haven't, you know, this is absolutely the one we haven't. Let's mark this with an L. And then this one with an R. And this one with an M. Not for middle, for mower. Lerm. Yeah, L, okay. All right, let's get L in here. Let's make sure nothing shorts out when I power it. So Hall effect sensors and stuff. Then our power. Three phases. It would have been nice if these were a little smaller. I don't know if they sell smaller ones, though, that do all the stuff that these do. I've got some 20 amp motor controllers that are way smaller, but they're also not as functional. This is like an incredible amount of functionality in this motor. This motor can do my homework. But it would have been nice if I could have set this thing up on like a PCB so that it was kind of attached. It's got to be free floating. Some semblance of zip tie will solve this issue, but for now we're just floating them. Floating them. Is that a place? Is that like a location? Floating them. I am from floating them. Why do you persist in... It's like, I'll go where I want. Okay, and then USB. And power. All right, got good lights. Good lights. Everybody else is blinking. So we can refresh here. It's still going to say COM7, and then connect, and it'll say, oops, my OS. Okay. All right. And so now we're going to go to experiments, and I'm going to run the RPM test. Ah! Okay, that's a little chattery. That's a little chattery, that one is. What's going on there? Oh, the bad connection. Well, I think it's the hardware for the motor. We're a little buzzy. What's going on with that? Look at the duty cycle and the current. Is it that it's hitting stuff? I don't know. Something's weird about that motor. That may have been the reason that the controller blew up. Whatever's hitting that motor controller is maybe causing spikes in current. Here we go again. Yeah, because I'm seeing 2 amp spikes on this. Wow. No heat in the wheel, but lots of heat over here. I'm wondering what the motor drive looks like. All right, well, while we're here, yeah, it's some hardware issue. Okay, so we've discovered probably what killed Momo, which is some issue with the gearbox. The motor, I don't suspect anything's wrong, but what we'll do, I'm going to get the brain out of here. We're going to put that aside because we're at a point where we know everything works now, but we can actually pull out the hardware. I'm going to disconnect from this. We're not going to digitally manipulate the motor anymore. I'm going to get this, because as far as we know, everything up to the connector works fine. So what I'll do is we'll get that gearbox on the bench and we'll take a look at it, because hardware sounds like a fun thing to do today. That connects like that, right? Pretty sure, yeah. And then that goes 2 pins from the communication plug there. 2 pins, then ground and all that stuff. And then this I had open in KiCad, and I'm pretty sure that's the way that connects. So let's get all of our motor controllers plugged in at least. All the other motors seem perfectly fine. Just the left-hand drive motor is a little squirrely, a little buzzbly. Man, it's a cool thing. This is a very cool thing. I mean, this is a fully fledged robot, and they decided that it would be appropriate to have a full-fledged robot mow the lawn, which, sure, I suppose so. I guess that's fine. Pretty crazy. And luckily they used such a universal motor controller that we can do something like this to it, which I kind of really appreciate. It's total open source right there. But it's really cool that there's like a whole open source application that will program and manipulate the motor controller on a pretty low level. And it allows you to like characterize your motors and stuff. Pretty cool. Cool stuff. I guess we could isolate it to the... Yeah, actually, before I do that, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to plug left motor into right motor and run the right motor using that sweep. And if the motor buzzes, then it's the controller. But if it runs smoothly, then it's the gearbox. And we'll take the whole motherboard out and make sure. So let's do this real quick, because these are the same motor for right and left. So this test should do the same thing and move smoothly. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, there, here, and then here. This I'm just going to hang off of its connector with just a blank pin so I don't short anything out. None of the wires got hot. We at least got that going for us. Okay, so let's try the left controller in the right motor. The right-hand side, not the correct motor. You know what I mean. Right, and then let's go to connect. Hit refresh. COM7 is still on there, so let's just connect like that. Look down here. Okay, firmware, yes, I get it. Then we go to experiments, and we run the RPM sweep. There goes that one. Okay, so that is, actually, that's still kind of buzzy. What's going on? Yeah, it's still buzzing. So it may not have been the, it might be the controller that's doing this. Yeah, and we're still spiking in current. That's something with the controller. Why would you do this? Okay, so it's not the gearbox. So I'm gonna redo the other test. Let's power down first. I don't know why you would be acting up. Why are you acting a fool? Is it not getting something? No, that's all plugged in. Those are, I mean, those are as soldered as they get. So for some reason, this one is buzzing the drive motor. Let's just double check that I'm not being too crazy and put the right one that we know works back in. Oh, we've got a little sweep thing that we do. Yeah. Like this. There we go. Goes here. Careful now. Got to get it right. Careful. That. Middle. This. This one. Power. And then USB. Okay, now we power up, go to the software, COM7, limited mode, firmware update, okay. Then experiments, and then I'm going to run the ERPM sweep. We'll see if this is as buzzy and weird as the other one was. Not at all. This is nice and smooth by comparison. So that is the controller. It was not the gearbox. What is wrong with this controller? The other controller. Listen to that little guy go. Oh my God. And it's drawing a whole lot less current because it's not fighting itself. At 95% duty cycle. All right, so disconnect from that one. That one's fine. I guess we can reprogram it. It seems like the sensors aren't correct. I don't know how that would happen. Check the wiring, make sure I'm not mixing up my Hall sensors. So let's turn you off. Just double check my correct wiring. Black, yellow, green, orange, white, red. Yeah, that's correct. See, my suspicion would be a bad Hall effect sensor connection. Well, no, because it's, okay. I plugged in the right-hand motor controller and it works great, right? It's gearing this thing up to full duty cycle and everything's happy and smooth. We plugged in the left one and it was jerky, drawing a whole lot of current, and it wasn't spinning quite properly. I mean, it was kind of managing to spin, but it was putting a lot of effort into it because it was fighting its own fluxes. So we took the right motor controller, or sorry, we took the left motor controller and we put it into the right-hand motor socket. And the wheel was all jerky and weird. I suspect if we take the right-hand motor controller and we put it in the left socket, this will work perfectly fine. The hardware is fine. Yeah, loose connection, wires touching. Aren't we all a little jerky and weird? You know what? When you write, you write. So what I suspect is a bad connection to a Hall effect sensor. I don't suspect the 3 phases are bad in any way. There's no excess solder anywhere. We were able to get this thing mostly. I did the blade. The blade works just fine too. You know, there's a lot of flux on this because obviously I had to bring out the super duper duper solder in order to solder this thing, but nobody's connected there. That's looking a little sus, but I think that's just flux. I don't think that would cause herky-jerkying either, because we were able to program this thing perfectly fine. Yeah, it was just a little bump in the flux. Yeah, I could do that. I could flash blade. Well, let's just hold on. Let's just. Yeah, there's a bunch of troubleshooting things that we can do. We're just getting into it. We're just getting into it. I'm just going to double check my. Is that bowed? No. No, that's just the fisheye of the lens. Okay. The whole circuit board was bent. I'm like, I didn't put that much heat into it. Yeah, see these pads, I'm just looking around the pads to see if anything like is in there, but it looks like they've got a pretty good clearance and everything. Didn't get like a blob of solder drop in on any of that stuff. The fact that we hooked it up to USB and it works perfectly fine is also another indicator that it's okay. By the way, I should probably mark this, but this is how the TX and RX is plugged in. I gotta skip 2 pins, and then this one's ground, and then this is TX and RX on these 2. It looks fine. Looks like it's fine. So, what about those? Look okay. Nothing doing there. They're just a little gloopy. Feels to me like a phase isn't getting through, but they're clearly they are, and it's only drawing like an amp, 2 amps. Where's the other connector? Oh, it's over here. Seems fine. Give him a little tug. See, if I like mixed up one of the wires, then I would suspect some foul play. Let me get one of the other adapters and bring that over. Hold on. It's the correct order. All right, let me ohm these out. Strange that one motor controller. We can just reload the software into the motor controller too and see if that fixes it. Because if we get to the point of the high level, like yes, your motor spins totally quietly, then, I don't know, we can pretty much be rest assured. Well, you know what? If I swap the cables, I wonder if it'll then... It takes too much to get through to that. But I mean, I guess we could try to narrow it down. Usually it would be something I did. That's usually the way it goes. Huh? You should say ohms. Hold on. One check. U to U. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's good. If we were mend at mark, these would be making beeping noises the whole way. Oh boy, do I not have enough love in my heart for constant beeping noises. Oops, hold on. Come on, brother. There to orange. Good. Wait. Me in. There you go. Yep. And then 5 volts. Ah, hand's not contorting enough. Okay, that one's good. Well, I don't know which one is which now, so I'm going to test this one too. What up, Ryan Labs? How you doing? Probably a hardware issue, but I'm not sure. Usually it would be something I did. Like no ground. Nope, we're good. How about you? Yes. Yes. No, never mind. Look, secretly I want to find a problem, right? I want there to be an issue with my soldering, because then it's done, you know? Then I fix it. So far, there's not a problem with my soldering, but it's definitely not a hardware problem because we swapped the controllers. That's a pretty big data point in and of itself. It is not my cable. Then what? Let's reprogram L-bomb right here. See if it fixes it. Because there's no, I mean, there's like no hardware. I don't see any reason why there would be a hardware issue. And then L, when plugged into the right wheel, did the same thing. It was herky-jerky. It was drawing a lot of current. It wasn't able to get up to its duty cycle. R, when plugged into, well, right when plugged into right, made this go smoothly. We haven't done right into left. We haven't done middle into anything. I haven't done anything yet. I'm going to try to reflash the drive motor parameters into L and see if it'll spool up. So I probably put my power supply away too quickly. Well, I guess I could do it in situ. Yeah, I could do it in situ. So let's re-situ this thing. So that's basic troubleshooting, right? You just eliminate parameter by parameter, and then what you're left with is the truth. We are a crucible of what's true and real. All right, I actually want that to go under because it's a little more organized. Harder to work with, more organized. That seems to be my modus operandi. Sort of my call to actions. Make things too complicated and then also make them neat looking, but hard to work with. There's a dog barking at. I just hear woo woo. She is a woo girl, that dog. Woof. Okay, this like this. Yeah, I can plug these into serial because it doesn't matter if they get communicated with. And they're known to work. They're known working. You know, I had these all plugged in on this thing, and it looked a lot better than this. I don't know what happened. They're just like flopping all over the place now. I really would have liked to tie these down with some kind of a circuit board, but that just wasn't going to happen. The boards themselves, the controller boards, are much larger than the pads that they're supposed to go on. So it's going to need, like, I don't know, piece of foam, some kind of an insulative thing, and then a zip tie or something. As long as it works, you know? And these things are not getting hot at all. So for the little duty that they're doing, the light duty that they're doing on this thing, oh my God, my dog is testing the waters with all this barking. I hear shuffling to another part of the first floor, and then woof. I don't know what she thinks she's doing. She thinks she's guarding the whole house. This goes this way. Make sure that plugs in properly. These little JSTs should be pretty good. And these just are going wherever you want. Stay. Jeez. Okay, and then USB into this one. And we'll reflash it. I'm going to, unplug the serial. Don't let that communicate. And then power. Everybody's online, looking good. So let's reflash this controller. So go to connection, refresh. And it only sees COM4. And this thing is powered up, so we should be seeing it on the COM port. Huh, why are we not seeing it on the COM port? Hold on, I'm gonna unplug it, plug it back in. Fresh. What? Why are we not connected? We got two LEDs on the controller. It's plugged into the phases. Power is plugged in. No drama there. TX and RX is unplugged. And all the hall sensors are plugged in. So let's hit refresh again. Not here. What is going on? Okay, unplug. Give it a couple seconds. What about these other ones? Are they plugging in? Plug you in. Blade controller. Hit refresh. Oh, nobody wants to communicate with the computer today. What are going on? This one doesn't have any TX and RX plugged in, so it should by all means. Okay. Well, what if I hit disconnect? No, there's nothing to... Oh no, don't connect to COM4. Yeah, invalid serial port, COM7. Not connected. Oh my God, the barking is really... She's like mean barking at something. Mean girl bark. So wait, this thing powered up, but none of them are communicating now. Yeah, I just need to restart Momo. Thought they were on too long. Didn't do serial after that. Huh. Why is it doing this? Battery low? I mean, these got the green light. Green light's on. Same with this one. No serial communication. So this should be good to serial communicate over USB, but it's not communicating. Just need to make sure that nothing hits weird over there. Everybody seems to be okay. Except, so let's hardware manager. Device manager. Let's see if a virtual COM port is present. Serial over Bluetooth is on COM4, but nothing else. Huh. We have a failure to communicate. Is it this thing? Plug it back in. We had no troubles on this before. They were pretty reliably communicating over serial. Is it that the Hall effect sensor things are plugged in? Is that why it's not working? What up, Madam U? How you doing? All right, power it down. Unplug the Hall effect sensors. So now this is isolated. It's only getting power and it only has connection to the motor. Turn it back on. Hit refresh. What's going on? Did I like blow up my own USB port? That might have happened. That's always a possibility. Why am I not, what am I doing? Man, left motor, all you had to do was work. That's all you had to do. If you had just worked. But the thing is, like, the computer isn't really recognizing it, so I don't know what's going on there. I'm going to plug into a different USB slot on this hub. And I think it's this, yeah, it's this one. So that goes in here. Naha. There it is. Okay, so it was my own USB stuff that didn't like what was going on. So now we have COM7. That was a loud click. Oh, that's an ad. Hold on one sec. We have 3 minutes of an advertisement coming down the pipe, and I just gotta wait. So I guess what I'm gonna do is reflash this controller. We'll do just what the instructions told us. Load motor configuration, and this one is a drive motor. And that'll come down here. Wait, what do you mean not connected? Oh, hold on. Connect. Connected serial COM7 limited mode. So, load motor configuration. Drive motor. We wait for the software to catch up with us. Loaded motor configuration. So now we send that to the motor driver. Motor config updated. Now we load the app. And the app is XESC. Open. Wait for it to get into the software. It's doing its best. Loaded app configuration. So now we load the app with the down pointing A. I guess that loaded. Did you guys see it? I'm going to do it again. Right, okay. Okay. So now I'm going to plug in the Hall effect sensors, which is this here. Okay, that's Hall effect sensors. So now Why is this thing? Just sit right there. Fine, whatever. I'm going to run a sweep of RPM using the experiments thing. So it's got an ERPM sweep. 7 seconds until the ad break is over. Let's wait. Wait for the ad break. There we go. Welcome back, everybody. Ad break is over. I reloaded the configuration and the app. So everything back into it. Now I'm actually going to go into the experiments. I'm going to run an ERPM sweep. I don't know if there's some other like test that I need to run for it to configure itself, but it's a little strange that one of them would work in one slot and not the other. So anyway, let's run this test. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Herky jerky, drawing a lot of current. So something like one of the phases is off or something. All right, let's stop that before it gets too far. Oh, here, stop, wrong button. I'm gonna plug the right-hand controller into the left-hand slot, and we're gonna see if it does the stuff, right? Actually, it might be that flipping the phases would fix it, but the right-hand motor behaved exactly the same way. It did the and the clicking and stuff. So let's move the one controller over to this side, plug USB into it, and see if it still does the herky-jerky. I didn't know this would be so troubleshooty. Okay. Because, like, things were working perfectly fine. Weird that the one motor controller would do all that. And yet it loads the app and everything just fine. So it's not like it's messed up. Okay. I gotta stand up for this. Oh man. Burp. What is my glucose level doing right now? I'll check that in just a second. I will check my blood glucose in just a sec. But first, we got to see if our good boy motor controller works in this socket. Okay, so we're all plugged into all the stuff we need to be. I guess we'll plug this in too. I don't like booting it up with a USB plugged in like that. But here we go. 3, 2, 1. Bonk. Blue light. Green light. Okay, cool. Green light. And so going over to the connection, hit refresh. It says not connected. VSC COM7. Connect. And firmware update available. Click OK. Then we go to experiments, and I run the sweep. Just make sure my hardware is clear. We're good. That is a very bright green light. A little jerky. No, it's actually working just fine. The jerks are speeding up. 40% duty cycle, 50% duty cycle, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. The direction is the opposite because of the pins, but... $90, and then it won't go over 90% duty cycle. And everybody's happy, and the motor controller is barely even warm. So that was perfectly smooth, like the other side was, from the right-hand controller. So there is something going on with this hardware that I've got over here. The motor controller is fine. It's not any of the mechanics of the left side. That still works just fine. It's a little bit rough, a little bit more rough than the other side, but still, regardless of that, something about this is not functioning properly. The direction doesn't matter as long as it's moving fine. Flipping directions on a motor with Hall effect sensors can not be good because if it's going the other way, well, you know what? I don't really know that for sure. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's not be so, what was that word? All right, so yeah, listen, stop, chat, stop. Things we know. The right-hand motor controller works in both slots without fail. It works perfectly fine. The left-hand motor driver does not work in both slots, right? That's what we know. So where do you think the problem is? It's definitely somewhere in the motor itself. No, it's not. No, it's literally proven. We've just proved it. That the problem is with the controller itself. What part of the controller? Dunno. I don't know. The Hall effect sensor wiring we ohmed out. So we know that that is in the right order and it does work properly. Did I swap my orange and red? That's always a possibility. And it could just be bad hardware. That would not be useful. I just said everything that we know. We got herky-jerky response from this. Well, I did not swap orange and red. Huh. Wait. Red, white, orange. Darn it. Red, white, orange, green, yellow, purple hearts, green stars. And I ohmed out the connector. We know the connector is making connection from thing to thing. Those are, those are like usual suspects kind of things. I want to make sure that the stuff that I did isn't what's failing it. And clearly the soldering is not failing it. Look at all that. Crazy. The shunts, I don't think the flux is affecting the shunt. I don't think that's a possibility. No outward signs of damage. Those aren't connected to anything. They're very difficult to solder. You need a lot of heat. A lot of heat. What else do we got? I mean, the microcontroller was able to take new code, new configuration. Yeah, so what we've tried is the thoughts are when this thing tries to power the motor, it's herky-jerky and it takes a lot of current. And that can happen when your phases are sort of out of whack. They're not what you think they are. Now, whether or not the phases are swapped on the board is not, actually they're not, because we took the one that works, the right side drive motor, and we moved it to the left side position and it ran the motor just fine. So none of the stuff beyond the motor controller is at fault. It's not the Hall effect sensors. It's not the wires to the plugs, to the pins. It's not the motor's configuration where the phases are or anything like that, because this worked perfectly fine in this slot, right? So because of that, we know that it is something here, whether it be the connection to the pins, but it's not because I ohmed it out, the connection to the three phases of the motor, but it's not because they're enormous. And we can see that they are very much indeed soldered, right? Very clearly these are soldered. Is it the serial communication? Well, no, because we're not using it. We're using USB to communicate with the board, and it is communicating with the board. But weirdly enough, the motor is all herky-jerky. So something else is going on. If it's the MOSFETs, they're pretty well spaced out on this board, and I don't think I harmed them in any way. Like if I take that heatsink off, we can see what the FETs look like underneath. But it's not exploding. That's a good thing, right? But I loaded the same configuration again, and it didn't I don't know what it could be, chat. I really don't, because this is getting out of the purview of what I normally. This thing in a different slot caused the herky-jerky motor again. I don't know why that would be. You know, our hardware looks okay. Is that guy looking a little? No, it's just a little drop of flux. Just a little nudge of flux on there. Let me take the heatsink off. Let's take a look at the other side of the board and see if anything weird is going on. If maybe it blew up like right away, but these things should be a little less susceptible to blowing up. Here, come on back over here, where I got all my lights. So big wide screwdriver to get these off. Man, it's always something, you know? Can't just get away with it. Can't just have it work out. Maybe there's some glaringly obvious problem in this, or maybe this is just a thing where, like, if we flip one of the settings, it'll get its act together. Because I for sure thought that meant, like, we were missing a Hall effect sensor, or, you know, the phases being out of whack. I sincerely doubt. Maybe I'll ohm one end of the wire to the other in case, like, there really shouldn't be a mid-wire break. Yeah, if I give it a good sniff, maybe something will be rotten. Ooh, I didn't like that. I didn't like that one bit. Ugh. Yeah. Well, that didn't put up a fight at all, so that might be something. What are you doing there? What was that solder doing there? What is, hold on a second. Tweezers over here. Okay, that's innocent. This thing is non-conductive anyway. There shouldn't be a wire break. Yeah, but, you know, wow, what? It looks like I gently put it back. Give me this. Get out of here, little droplet of solder. Okay, let's get this off and just, well, I do want to check to see that the FETs are okay. What's that little spot? I think that's just debris from me working on it. Me working. I don't see why this would cause any issue. I've just got these draped on top of this little storage thing. I think this is where the settings are. And then flux on these. I don't see why that would cause any issue. These are like a mega super duper pain to get soldered in. That's not making any connection. Like, everything is perfect except that it doesn't work. It's always possible that this is a DOA. This isn't going to go back on cleanly. I'm not going to get that off. Yeah, so what we know so far is that when this controller is plugged into either the right or the left, it's herky-jerky. And that's, you know, like the phases are out of whack. It's not moving the magnetic fields properly. Something is weird and wrong. I reflashed it and tried again, and it's doing the same exact thing. The other side controller works perfectly fine, and it's smooth. And if I move it to the other side, it's perfectly fine, and it's smooth. So something here ain't right. We ohmed out the Hall effect connector. Those are all 0 ohms. The wire needs lunch. I had a chicken sandwich for lunch, and it is starting to repeat on me for some reason. I've got the horrible burps. It's horrible. Yeah, so I don't know what is up with this. There's no outward signs of anything broken. Hi, back, I'm dad. Yeah, okay. I don't see any outward signs that things are broken. I don't want to move this stuff because it won't go back on cleanly. But there was pressure against the FETs and a big insulator in there. I don't know if any of the FETs are blown up or not, but Do you think it's obligatory to have a degree to go into working with robotics and hardware code? Oh God, I don't know, man. I have no idea. Do I look like I'm working in the industry? I don't fucking know how the industry works. I'm sitting behind a desk at my house, just pontificating into the furniture. I'm not successful. Far from it. This thing is also communicating with the computer and taking code. So all of this fancy digital stuff is fine. It just seems like it's like a configuration issue, but I reloaded the configuration and it's all topsy-turvy. You're smart though. Yeah, but Smart never paid for me and Smart never got me money. I think maybe we are at the point where it's order another one, and then I'm just gonna have to bust out my lightsaber again in order to actually get this thing to solder at all. It's a whole process, but I've got it down pat, so I can just transfer these wires over to a new one. I don't know why. Why did you hurt me? Why would you do this to me? What have you done? Yeah, I reflashed the motor app and the profile in that order, militantly. You'd probably see it on the YouTube. There was a commercial playing while I was doing it, but it was the complete, reflash, and it took all this stuff. So, oh, the blade spinning profile. You want me to try that? I don't think I'm going to get any different results, but let's reflash the blade spinning to a motor running and see what happens there. Which I know what'll happen. It'll just work. But yeah, let's do that. I mean, I've ruled out this hardware. This hardware is fine because the right-hand controller will move the left motor. But so be it. Let's just move this over without its serial communication. Man, and I even labeled these. A little R, L, and M. Now M's gonna be L. Oh, hell break loose. There's no rules. Cats and dogs living together. But yeah, I think we've effectively ruled out Momo's hardware. This isn't a Momo hardware problem. This is a motor controller problem. So keep everybody clear of that motor. And if I plug the plug and I power the pug, and then we go over here, flash the bunk ESC to a blade profile and see if it spins the blade. I think it's going to do the same thing, but I guess I can do that, yeah. All right, so let's power down. I'll do that. Just in case. Let me put the heatsink back on, just to be nice. Gotta make sure all the battery wires are out of the way. Okay. Turn this thing into a blade and see if it'll blade the blade, or if it just goes herk. I was hoping it was a gearbox problem, because then we would have been able to take apart a gearbox, and that would have been really fun to do. But no, not a gearbox problem. All right, we'll plug this into the blade where I can reflash it. Unplug you. Yeah. We'll keep that one from getting serial communication, because this one is unflashed. We'll have to flash that one with a motor profile if this one properly runs the blade. Now the problem is we can't really tell if the blade is running properly unless I pitch this up on its side. So we'll have to pitch this up on its side so we can see it. Well, we can also see in the motor controller if it's suddenly jerking a whole bunch of amps. Because when the phases are out of whack like that, I mean, what it looks like to me as a controls and robotics guy, because that's what I studied in college, didn't go into the field, did study it in college. as a controls and robotics guy, what I'm seeing is that like the Hall effect sensors are on the wrong slots, and so it's kind of hitting stuff bad. I was a submarine radio man, an electronics technician, submarine comms, and the most vexing problem I ever saw was on my first boat. We had a piece of gear that had some loose wires are the worst, that had loose wiring. And whenever it got hot, the wires would touch and give us false indication of a major problem. It took us a repair facility almost 2 years to find out what, oh my God, 2 years. I had a problem with the fire cannon controller like that, where when I closed the lid of the fire cannon controller, the lid pressed down on a connector and disconnected something. So 2 times I drove all the way into the city where Big John was filming a 24-hour movie contest. So they were all like, bleary-eyed and tired. And I would come in with this hardware and I go, look, it's the fire cannon controller. This thing is awesome. It totally works. And then it wouldn't even like turn on. And I was like, oh no. Well, I gotta go. And I went all the way back to the suburbs, looked at it again. It took me 2 tries, and then I finally got it in front of them. But it was because I closed the lid, everything didn't work. All right, this turns on. We're good. No serial connected. So this is the left-hand drive motor plugged into the blade. So now I need to go into this little guy. We're gonna hit refresh. And it says VSC COM7 connected to COM7. I'm going to go through the whole process on this just to be certain. So file, load motor configuration, and this would be the mower. And we're going to load that in. Sorry, we need to give the software a second. Yeah, I don't think this will be a 2-year problem, but man, submarine electronics. Motor updated. Okay, so that loaded it in. The motor configuration was updated. So I'm going to actually load the app again, even though I probably don't need to. Just to be thorough. Yeah, troubleshooting is like a whole mindset. You need to kind of like take things piecemeal and really kind of narrow down what specifically you think might be going on. This test we're doing right here will tell us whether or not the motor controller itself has some kind of just some kind of a thing is wrong with it that can't be fixed. It just feels like if we got like the phases and the Hall effects right, but loading the motor configuration, like these are all configured the same way, and we know that one of the others that we configured works well in the slot that this thing goes in. So it's not a hardware or a configuration problem. Okay, let's disconnect. Oh no, I didn't, no, not disconnect. All right, we'll have to connect again. Connect again. My motor's, the motor's like, the controller's like, connect, disconnect. What do you want to do? Just decide. Jeez. All right, so let's go to experiments. And we'll run an ERPM sweep. Now I got to get under this thing. And basically what you're supposed to do with the lawnmower is you touch the spinning piece to verify. So I got my arm under this thing right now, and I'm touching it, and it seems to be doing just fine. You guys probably could see a little spike in current when I touched it. Ow! Why did that hurt me? It's not supposed to hurt you when you touch a lawnmower blade. I was basically reaching under the skirt there. But this is running and it's quiet. I can just hear it going, mrrr. Yep, we're running just fine. And we're not drawing a lot of current. We got up to 59% duty cycle, huh? I guess it doesn't go full bore on this little test here. So that works perfectly fine. So the, wait a minute, but that was our bad hardware. Why would this be? Why would you do this? Wait a second. Why would you do this? What the? Okay, so now we're going to program. Why is this a thing? Why was that? Why was John right? Why was Big John right? Why was Big John right? Why were you right? You're not supposed to be right about that. That was supposed to out this thing as bad hardware. Because wisdom. God damn you, wisdom. Okay, let's disconnect. Disconnect. That's so weird. That's so weird. All right, so now let's take you and we reconfigure you as a drive motor. Get this out of the way just so the serial communication isn't a problem. That's mechanical engineering approach. That should not have worked. That should not have worked. There's no way. But it did. But it did. All right, we're still COM7. These aren't like the Arduino virtual COM ports. They're not assigning themselves numbers. It always... I hate that I'm inflating your little ego balloon with this. Are we connected? Connected, COM7, limited mode. All right. Load motor configuration, and we are now a drive motor. Keep pumping. Pump the bunions. Let's see. And then we load it. No, we'll give it time. Give the app time. There it is. Jeez. Load it. Config updated. App configurator. XESC app. Give it time. God damn, this thing takes a while. Come on. Okay, there we go. And then load the app just to be certain. Why would that work? Why did that work? It's so weird. Okay, and now experiments. And I'm going to run the sweep. Ah, it's all fucked. Yeah, that one's still messed up. Why is that now messed up? This one is labeled M. This is the one that I configured to be the drive motor. Sorry, the spinning motor. This one is labeled L. This one was acting up. This one we gave blade motor configuration, and then it ran the blade motor perfectly fine. This one is labeled R. This is able to move both drive motors smoothly. The one labeled M, I just reflashed as a drive motor, connected in the same way. It was able to spin the blade motor. This one is now doing the same exact thing as the one labeled L. Now, yeah, so we moved R over to L, and I did not swap the phases. This is very phase swappy behavior on it. So if I actually swap the phases, I don't think I need to, well, no, I should power it down. I'm going to power it down just in case. All right, so I'll swap the outer phases for direction. Or no, should I do them one over? What should I do here? Well, no, they aren't swapped on that side. They're not. Because we plugged the other motor driver into it and it worked just fine. Like, okay. This one over here, same exact setup, works. This goes smoothly, if not in the wrong direction. Wrong direction, you'd swap the two outer phases and then it would go the right direction. If we just move, yeah, any two, okay, try it. We shouldn't have to do this because we were able to move this controller over to here and it worked fine. We didn't do anything weird to that controller. It's configured exactly the same way. So swapping two phases, swapping one out of the middle. And then powering back on, hitting connect. I feel like this program is getting slower and slower. I wonder if I need to reboot it. Well, now it's just vibrating. Okay. That was just vibrating. Try again. Now we're just vibrating again. This time, just as angry. Whoa. Okay, stop that one. Okay, this one's still in the middle. This would be trying every combination of phase. Okay, so now the red wires or the outer wires are swapped, which would just make it go in the opposite way, but maybe it'll sync it up with its Hall effects better. No, it's still vibrating madly. Ah! Stop. Okay, any configuration of swapped phases just makes it vibrate angrily. Strange behavior. And then like this is the original configuration. Run. This one does move, but it's herky-jerky and it... Yeah, it goes... So, all right. Is it the Hall effect sensors? When I move this controller to the other side over here, it does the exact same thing. Sorry. When I move this controller to this side, the wheel moves smoothly. So this controller, either side, moves smoothly. We ohmed out the Hall effect sensors, and they ohm out okay, just fine. So if this moves smoothly, that means the Hall effect sensors are good, the controller's good, everybody's good. But when we put this controller in the middle and gave it the blade profile, it was like, yeah, sure, boss, I got this, and does it just perfectly. I don't like these flopping down on top of stuff. I keep you guys from flopping all over my stuff. All right, so swap. That one becomes jerky, that one becomes good. No, that's what I'm saying. It does not follow the ES. Well, yes, it does follow the ESC. Yes, sorry. My brain is flipping things that should not be flipped. So I move the ESC that's herky-jerky over to the other side. The other side's herky-jerky. I move the good ESC to the other side's good. Move the bad ESC to the middle, reflash it as a blade driver, it's good. Move the blade driver to the side, make it a motor driver, it's herky-jerky. This is like a Sphinx riddle. What's going on? Answer me these riddles 3. You can see why I'm a little flummoxed here. Yeah, it's by all means every single troubleshooter instinct in my brain has been weird. What the hell? I'm gonna flash it again. Color code the ESCs. I've got them labeled M, L, and R. So this is L. This was previously the left motor. And the other color code is in the wiring. The drive ESCs had black wires on the outside, but L and R don't matter. not even saying L&R matters. It's just the markings so that we know which one. L was the one that was messing up, and it's the one that's in the middle slot. Are there tuning parameters flashed that are wrong? But this one runs the motor perfectly smoothly. This one is running the motor fine. Oh man, super heartburn. Hold on. So we're connected to COM7. Motor config. Drive motor. Give it a minute. Like a full minute. Yeah, this is strange. It's not adding up. Usually you narrow it down and say, oh, it's the controller itself, what's going on with it. But we seem to have like swapped it. What's going on? Right motor config. Try flashing another app to the weird one. Okay. Happy to do. Yeah, can we like read back the configuration? I don't know. I think I got it though, but we got to make sure. Waiting for a different configuration. I don't know why they would require a different configuration, because they both, like the right motor controller, and I'm calling it the right motor controller. It is just one of the three, but it for all intents and purposes of troubleshooting, I'm labeling this the right motor controller. So the right motor controller was moving the left motor without issue. Drive app 1. Okay, let's download that and let's try that. Okay, so load motor configuration, and this would be drive motor app 1. It's confusing because there's 3. Could not load. Why? What? Load motor configuration XML. Driver app. Yeah, it hates it. I don't know, it doesn't like it. Why don't it like it? There's like no difference in any of the, I don't know. Load app configuration, motor configuration. Oh, wait. Oh, this is an app. Oh, okay. Drive motor, load. Okay, it's the terminology here is. Yeah, I got it now. I get it. I'm sorry. Everything is app and config and this and that. And okay, you're just gonna write it all again. I'll do it all again. New process. Here we go. Okay, send that to the motor. Motor config updated. Now we do the app. This is a different app, the Yard Force Classic Drive app. Wait for it to load. How long does this take? Man. Come on, go. Okay. Loaded app, configure emulator. Send. App config right, okay. We go down to experiments, and I run my experiment. Better move smoothly. Ah, it's still creaking and, well, it's moving the right direction, but it is also and drawing an amp. Oh God, why are these so weird? Because it should be like, ugh. There's a manual tune. It feels like it's jumbling up its Hall effect sensors or something. It is moving, it's just the phases are getting away from it. You did this once? Okay, we can... Yeah. Detect and calculate parameters. Detect and calculate the necessary FOC motor and control parameters. See the following. Measure the R and L and wait for detection results. Well, let's wait on this one. Let's wait on this one before I jump into it. That's it. This is what we're doing. Param and then the calculate. Following parameters are measured: resistance, inductance, and then the flux linkage. Proportional gain KP. Okay, so it does all the gains, and then current, duty, and ERPM, the minimum speed for the delay communication mode of the motor. Okay. Hold on, let me just check up with Twitch and everything. I think I thanked Blimey's, right? Yeah, it was the one in a row. And then we had Miguel Oz for 73 months, which is amazing. I think that's cyborg content, and then Mahalo as well. Wiggleheimer was last week, right? No, Clarence Wiggleheimer was this week. Yeah, thank you guys for the subs. Okay, so back to, sorry, I'm like concentrating on stuff. So when measuring R and L, the motor is going to make some noises, but not rotate. These noises are completely normal, so don't unplug anything. What about snapping and popping? No? It's making noises going meep. Beep. Oh, is it done already? I guess it already characterized itself. All right. Lambda. Warning, this is going to spin up the motor. Make sure nothing's in the way. Nothing is, yeah, kind of, yeah, it's technically true. There it goes, being weird. So it just went meh, but it didn't spin. We know that's free to spin. That didn't move at all. A little confused about that. I mean, I guess it got all its stuff. Just click apply. Observer gain applied. So if I go to experiments, I run that. It's still herky-jerky. And it's drawing like 2 amps. Sensor mode or sensor less. So, oops, motor settings. Oh, it's under FOC. Okay, so if we try sensor less. Oh. Gonna let me do it there. I gotta go in FOC. What is that, right? It? Read current setting, read default. How do I send the settings? So I just click this apply. So that's observer gain. I need to set this. That's read default, read current. Oh, the down M. Okay, thank you. Down M. Down M. Okay, and so then I go to my experiments and I run. It's just vibrating. Yeah, I'm just getting vibration. I wonder if that means that one of the MOSFETs is messed up. But wait, this worked fine as the blade motor. So it's not, none of the MOSFETs are messed up. It's me, I'm the mess. Ugh. What the heck, man? Oh, do it again, but without sensors. So it makes little meep, meep, meep noises. And that gets that. Get the lambda. You kind of see how it's like jerking and vibrating. But that's not, no, remember, wait, hold on. No, not just make it the blade mower. Because, like, that means we have 2 blade mower ESCs and 1 drive ESC. Because remember, the other one was doing all of this stuff, all the same stuff in both slots. See, troubleshooting is totally messed up here. It's like I need to have a list of the things printed because good motor controller for the drive motor works in both slots. The bad driver works bad in both slots, but it works in the blade slot. Blade slot works fine as the blade, but we move it to the other one, to the drive motor, and it's doing this stuff that we just saw. So it's like 2 of the ESCs are messed up. That can't be. That can't be. Because the 2 of them work as the blade motor. Why? And now this is going to just vibrate. Yep. Yeah, it just vibrates. Oh, it doesn't let me do anything here. Play button. Oh, yeah. I ran it and it just goes meh. Bottom left. Which way, huh? Why am I dumb? I'm dumb. Listen. These guys. I don't think I want to run it at 5,000 RPM, and I need to be able to stop it immediately. These are the sweep test is perfectly fine because it starts easy. Because yeah, if I hit this, it's probably going to be a big crazy, like a super crazy emergency. I guess the stop button's over here. But I'm fine with the sweep. The sweep does perfectly fine. It's the same. It's just doing the same thing. This will still, you know. All right, ready? Why is it? Okay, running it at that RPM, sensorless, it wasn't doing any of the jerking. It was just making a weird noise. What the? Oh, that's another ad. Sorry, everybody, it's another ad. Yeah, it's just making like a... So, okay, so if I try with the sensor then... Motor config updated. What the f... Was that supposed to jog it out of... What the fuck? Okay. I officially hate Momo. Momo's on my shit list. Forever and ever. Now you work. 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 Now you work, even though it's going the wrong speed. It went full speed and then it stopped. Why is it doing... That's not the sweep. What happened to the sweep? Hold on, stop running the sweep. What are you doing? It's supposed to go slow. Why are you like this? Oh, because the PID configuration is probably really bad. I need to rerun it. Do this again. Do this again. Now it's making weird noises. Apply. Load it to the motor. Try sweeping again. What? That's not what it should be doing. What in the world? This is supposed to be running it on a sweep. Level by level. From 0 to whatever duty cycle. If I run the 5,000 RPM duty cycle, you can see it moving. Yeah, we're still in an ad. Take the working XESC board left over, plug it in, and test that. I don't like the results have changed. What happened here? What was the Oh, you said idea. That's right. You said idea, and the idea light lit up. Like that works just fine. Oh, but it's only going one speed. That didn't change. I don't know what it is, man. I don't, you know. Yeah, it's only going one speed. And my sweep is just totally dead. What about duty cycle sweeping? You gonna do anything? Oh, starting. Okay, that works. Maybe it's just relying on ERPM. I'm running a different sweep. And I don't know, something seemed to like crack into working again. But see, that's actually doing quite well. And I can hear it upping the duty cycle, and it's drawing very little current. And I turned it back onto sensorless too. Or sorry, censored. Turn it back onto censored. Yeah, we're drawing an appropriate amount of current for a duty cycle sweep. The ERPM was maybe buggy, I don't know. Maybe that's what it was. This one, it's just, nothing will happen and then it'll suddenly, ah! Stop it. This one seems to run it just fine though. It takes a minute for it to get up to the right one. To ones that'll actually move it, but right there, and then this thing goes nice and slow. It slowly ramps it up. Why was the other one okay with the one sweep but not the other? As long as it serially communicates with the base station, then it should be okay. It may be my running an ERPM is what messed this up, but I don't know why the ERPM would mess up for one particular motor controller and not the other one. It worked on the other one. I don't get it. Why is this thing so... I guess it works, though. All right, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, this can leave the shop. This can leave the shop, and I never want to see it again. No, this can leave the shop, and I guess John's going to have to work out keeping these things oriented properly. Let me plug in the remaining serial connectors here, because that's another one that's a little weird. The serial connector I did not have the big connector for, so the ground wire, the black wire facing towards the capacitors, it needs to plug so that there are 2 on top and 1 at the bottom. And that way, the green and the yellow wire line up with TX and RX. And I did TX to RX, which should be the right way. But TX and RX being what they are, there's a possibility that they're backwards, in which case I would need to pop the wires out of it. That was the wrong... What the fuck? Wait a minute. Oh, this one's messed up. Yellow wire's in the wrong one because it skips one. Let's just double check. Let's open KiCad. Oh, I've got it open. Open that. I may have to move to KiCad at some point soon. I don't know, just because it's so much faster than Fusion without the burden of all the stuff Fusion does. TX is here on the second to bottom one, which is going to be the green wire, serial clock, and then RX. So yeah, this one's a little messed up. Let me just correct this one. That would have been annoying. I never thought I'd see the day he uses KiCad. Listen, you're an engineer, you're a jack off of all trades, master of none. You have to be able to enter into a work scenario where they're using software that you may not be familiar with. So being able to swap software is an important skill, especially with CAD, because they're not going to buy your favorite CAD and totally upend their entire workflow. So I am able to do this. I do not like that the scroll... That son of a bitch. That the scroll wheel direction is opposed to what I'm used to. I really dislike that. All right, so I got to get the old one out, and then I got to recrimp one. Damn it. Ugh, okay, that's the most annoying thing. And I was careful to crimp those properly because this is going to be leaving my shop. And if something leaves your shop, you want to make sure that it works the first time. I only use it because it's what most GitHub projects seem to use. Yeah, this is the mistake that I made with the Steam Deck. Steam Deck, everybody's using the Steam Deck, right? Everybody's using the Steam Deck, but I had to get something that had faster hardware because I'm awesome and everything I do is best. And so I got one with faster hardware, handheld with faster hardware that doesn't have any support. Nobody's using it. Nobody cares. So that's a problem. That's a mistake that I keep making. I'm quite annoyed with myself on that front. But KiCad being the one that everybody uses means that you get support for it, and you can bring your problems to other people who will have an inkling of how to solve your issues. One of the problems in Fusion is that not a lot of people are using Fusion Eagle, and I guess that problem sort of manifests in the fact that they offer me a free copy if I use it every now and then on stream. So that's all it takes. Very little pressure on that, but that should keep us together during our lawn mowing. I keep saying vacuuming. There we are. Nope, there we aren't. Okay, yeah, that is on. Okay. Okay, so now the RX is right next to that. Wait, that's not how it is. Wait a minute, hold on. TX and RX are next to each other, and there's one pin in between. It's the other ones that are wrong. Holy shit. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna shit. Oh no, this is the one that goes into there. No, these are correct. So it goes... No, it doesn't. This is the one that's right. This one I have to move over because this one was correct. Yeah, I've actually been putting KDE, not SteamOS, but they're very, very similar to one another. There's a particular flavor of KDE, but maybe I should be doing... Well, SteamOS runs in parallel. It's the desktop application that's KDE, right? I think. What I need to do is figure out how they can do the video pipeline to the thing. So, okay, this one, this pin header is for TX and RX. So this plugs in with ground facing to the right. And then the yellow wire goes over to the middle lower plug on this plug, which plugs into here, and that goes to TX. So that yellow pin goes to TX, and then the green wire is the one that we skip a pin because serial clock is in the middle, and the green wire is TX, and that goes to the bottom one on the motor controller, which is RX. So this is a correct communications wiring harness. Double check the other ones. They are built the same way. Why do I keep questioning myself? They're not built the same way. Wait a minute. Yeah, this one's wrong. That is incorrect. These need to be all the way to the left. It was almost correct. Okay, so this comes out. Now there is an enable pin. I do not know which pin is the enable pin. I do not know how that works. And I didn't see any enable on this. So maybe it just doesn't use the enable pin. And since this is a periodically powered device, it doesn't stay on and disable its motor controllers often. So I'm willing to bet that just leaving that floating is fine. Because it's powered on by a button, and when you power it on by the button, it has a job to do, so all the motor controllers should be active. All right, so 2 down, and then that, weave it in there, and plug it in so that the ground wire is facing up. I don't know what happened, why this suddenly kicked it into working again, or if it was the specific test that I was running that wasn't properly moving what it should have moved. I don't know. This is one of those things where you start throwing stuff at the wall and suddenly something sticks and you don't know why. But I'm willing to hand off Momo now so that Momo can get back on the prairie and do its job. Do your job. Okay, and then this one with both of them like that. It's correct. Plugged into there. That's also correct. Okay. Good on ya. The things that I need to, remaining things that I need to do are plug all the wires back in. Momo has a lot of connections that need reconnecting. And that's kind of a boring part, so I, just for the sake of theatrics, Momo is done. Here we go. I declare you robot lawnmower with a cowboy hat. Is it vacuuming as well? No. Momo's only a mower. Yeah, so what this is a Yard Force Classic 500 that has been modified with a bunch of open source tools, open source motor drivers and stuff like that. It's got a centimeter sensitive scale GPS on it. It has a rain sensor. I don't know how much that's used. All the wonderful controls on the back and everything. And what this will do is this will robotically basically perform what a slicer does for a 3D print and then follow that path and mow your lawn. Ta-da. Cool stuff. Who's the comment? I missed it. How did L get fixed? Just like that. I don't know. I ran a different test for the motor speed and it just worked. It no longer made buzzing noises or anything. We let it configure its own motor lambdas and stuff, and I think that might have gotten it back to work. Guess we need to break it again so we can figure it out. Nope, it just works now. It just works now. I don't know why. To be honest, like, it really shouldn't. Why is it not folding again? How did this fold up originally? Okay, whatever. We don't know. We don't know why. It just suddenly started working properly. What could even do that? I don't know. It seemed like a phase wasn't plugged in or something, or, you know, because you get all kinds of weird buzzing when you work with these motors. When the motor runs backwards, you flip the two outer phases and it'll run in the opposite direction. But the problem with that is that you have Hall sensors included in that whole equation. And so the Hall sensors expect to see magnetic fluxes in certain spots. And so if they don't, then I guess that can cause it to think that the motor is somewhere that it's not, and then it sends the magnetic flux in opposition, and you get buzzing and vibrating and weird overcurrent problems. That was a weird one too. It was drawing tons of current because the motors weren't, or the spindle wasn't moving, and just things. Motors are math, and when that equation starts to get messed up, you can send your magnetic fluxes in all kinds of directions, and it works like a transformer, or just like a big short over a coil. And you know, you get dissipating fluxes inside of that, and it creates all kinds of noise. Somehow Palpatine returned and fixed the motor, and that's what we get. So if we give these machines enough smarts to diagnose themselves, they probably don't need us. Well, I don't know what we did. So yeah. I was never big into Transformers. They were just like a thing in my life. And then we all grew up and people remained into Transformers for a long time. And they're like really into it. And that ain't me. I guess I always thought they were cool, but I didn't get big into Transformers. Anyway, I have brain rot. Yeah, that's pretty much it. No, you could just stop there. Just that's it. That's all we need. You can't hear it without that is brain rotty. That I would not be able to sleep at night with that. Anyway, we got it working. I don't know what happened. I think the auto tuning probably did it. Maybe that motor is just a little bit off specifications or something like that. But they work perfectly fine now, and they're smooth. They're not quiet. I think that's maybe because of the gearbox. And we've got the spindle for the blade running and everything like that. So I guess the next step is just to get Momo to my buddy. He can do whatever hardware stuff he feels fit to either locate those motor controllers in there or don't. Just let it ride, and see what happens next. If we can get Momo fully working, I think that'll be relatively easy to do. Just got to plug in all the plugs that I numbered them, so it shouldn't be that bad. But that concludes my repair of Momo. I've taken it to fruition. All the motors work. The motor controllers kind of fit in. You know, if you put a zip tie around the heat sinks of all three of those, they would stick together. It would just be hard to get a USB plug in there. And yeah, I think I'm just ready to hand it off. That was a lot of, so the stuff you guys didn't see was the stuff that was really rough with Momo, which was soldering those massive motors with the motor controllers with the heat sinks. The heat sinks were crazy. They're huge. And so even without, well, not the heat sink, but the heat sinking ability of those controllers is crazy. Anything I did, I had to do with the gas soldering iron. This is not an adult toy. This is not a lightsaber. This is a gas-powered soldering iron. This is the I am not negotiating anymore with you, solder. You will melt. This thing is able to really put the stink on to the pads like that and get the heat in there quickly enough that it can't dissipate out to the ground plane and then cool the pad. There's like phases of using this thing though. You get this thing really stinking hot, put a bunch of flux on the solder, plop this thing down. It will initially get like the top layer of that thing to melt. And then suddenly it won't get any progress at all because all that heat bleeds away into the ground plane or whatever planes that the board has, because they're massive traces to dissipate heat and carry a lot of current. So you hold it there and you start praying to a higher power because nothing is happening. At some points, I had to bring in just a little dollop of chip quick, and that would get in and lower the soldering temperature of the whole thing somewhat. Or typically what I would do is take my own solder with that little bit of lead component in there and insert that on and swirl it around to kind of mix it in with everything. Maybe you do need a lightsaber to heat it up really fast. I don't think any of the material, and I haven't done the comics or the books. I never got into the books. I know the movies. The movies don't really particularly frame the lightsaber as anything but destructive. I don't think you're not really doing surgery with a lightsaber, right? Maybe you're doing your rough cuts with the lightsaber, but I don't think that would be the appropriate tool to bring to solder something. But yeah, eventually the board would heat up and all the preheating that I should have done would be done by butane, and the pad would capitulate and I would be able to clean it off and then put just a little bit. Can I have a purple soldering iron? I think it might look like something else. Actually, Project Hail Mary used the exact same soldering iron handle. They had a Pace soldering iron handle for one or two of the scenes where he was building a thing. He had the Pace soldering iron in his hand. Pretty cool. You can tell because it's blue. This is as close to purple as I get with soldering iron. Suppose they made micro lightsaber. Well, no, because I think the knowledge was supposed to have been lost from the old Republic. So I mean, I'm sure whoever invented the thing initially, but it's also supposed to be like part of their journey as a Jedi is finding the kyber crystal that matches their particular inclinations. I don't know. So there's a whole, because religion, it's like Warhammer. We lost all the technology. That's why we do things dumb. Like, that's basically Warhammer. Yeah, this is butane. You reload it with one of the butane reloaders in the back, and it holds a ton of butane, and you can check on it with a little sight glass kind of thing. It's plastic. I love this thing. This is a Weller Portasol, as in portable solder. I also have a Pyro pen, but the Pyro pen, I don't like the design as much. I think this is the one I took on festivals, though. This has different controls, and they're kind of like, you get more controls with it. Yeah, but I don't know if I don't really like the style of this. This one looks cool. That's why I like it. Primarily, this one looks cool, so I use this one over the other one. Plus, I have a couple tips for it. I'd use the big chisel tip on these motor controllers. That was the hard part. So if you're wondering what Oh Bother brought to this project, pretty much just this was the reason that it worked. Everything else was facilitated by Big John, whose project it was. But I will be getting Momo back to him soon, and hopefully we'll rock. So, all right. I need to do this command. I'm going to be back on Thursday. What? Oh, that was I put an at there. Oh, that's right. Not next. End. Yeah. Can't make one mistake without everybody farting in your face. I'm gonna be back in 1 day and 20 hours. That is Thursday. We're gonna finish that circuit board. I don't know if I want to wait that long, but the fun stuff we need to do on the circuit board. So we need to take like a meme or something, or draw a penis on it or something like that, and then get all of our I's crossed and our T's dotted to make sure that everything is correct in the circuit board. And I'm having a little bit of an internal debate about one piece of functionality on that board. There's a particular circuit, and I don't know if I should replicate it. I probably am fine with it the way it is. I just want to make sure that I'm putting my best foot forward with this thing. This is a powered multi, so you plug one plug into it and then have three outputs that are the same. And they are all individually powered. So if you plug a lot of stuff into it, you're not getting like the signal isn't depreciating. That would happen with the unpowered mult, is you'd plug something in, and if you branch it out in three directions, all three of those directions kind of suffer as a result. So instead you put a powered amplifier on that, and then that'll punch your signal over to the next thing without it depreciating. So that's what we want to build on Thursday. We want to finish the circuit board for that. I decided to make a circuit board because I already had all the good parts in CAD, and it was very easy in that case to just throw everything at, you know, the wall and have it all in there. So yeah, that's what we're working on Thursday. I finished Momo. It is, it's a little early. I wanted to go later today, but we ran into some weird problems, and I don't know why they work now. Maybe it was me running a weird test. It might have been auto tuning for the motor was what did it. It feels like, well, you know what? It works fine now. It moves that motor just fine. So yeah, it wasn't any of Momo's hardware. It wasn't my motor controller wiring or anything like that. It just kind of started to function again once we auto tuned. So maybe there's a lesson in there, but probably not. Thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate you guys joining me on the stream. Back Thursday, and we'll be working on Eurorack stuff, and you know, we got a couple other things to worry about after that. I'll catch you then. What do I hit? I hit actually, let's see, is there anybody? Well, I don't have any viewers to rate in. We've got like 12 people watching. Do we have like a Gonad stream? Forcey guys on a Gonad? No, it looks like no. Oh, Larry's doing Halo 2. Oh, because he did the new Halo that all the chuds are like really upset about for some reason. I had a friend texting me about it. I don't care for that stuff. I don't care. Yeah, okay, nothing really going on Twitch. You guys can figure out where you want to go. Sid Heresy around? What is Sid doing? I'm just gonna stop. I just want to stop and stop. I'm gonna blow up the stream now. Goodbye forever, and I'll see you on Thursday.